for me, I don't think Jaden Daniels is a bad player, but are we talking 10, 15-year potential starter with the way he played? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's my thing. I don't know if he can last 10 years with his style of play and already having an injury.
So to me, I don't know if Peters, and maybe this is just my take on the 49ers Peters, and I'm not, none of this is me blaming Peters, it's just me looking at their franchise. You go from a Kaepernick to I think they might have had what was his name? Blaine
Blaine Gabbert.
Gabbert. After that, you end up with Garoppolo through some trades.
Well, he came there. Hold on, but he don't go back to Kaepernick. He goes all the way back to when John Lynch got there. That was John Lynch, one of John Lynch's guys. He came in with John Lynch, so that would be in 14.
Kaepernick
Right, the year before
before. No, Kaepernick was 14 because RG3
15 then. He was 15.
Okay,
They were there for 12 season. Therefore, that might have been the Kaepernick last season.
That was Kaepernick.
Yeah, 4-12 season. That was when he first.
Yeah.
His first
So Cam Newton, we're gonna start with Cam because he's 2011, and then you go to 2012, which is RG3, Andrew Luck. You get what I mean? And then after RG3, and I mean Kaepernick, I think was already in the league though.
Yeah, he was drafted in 2011.
Because Kaepernick came in and he was behind Alex Smith when RG3 came in.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? So when you move from Alex Smith and then go into Kaepernick, you get what I'm saying? And you see that whole transition. That was like a 2-year transition. And I think they was in the Super Bowl 2014. And then you might be right, 2015, if I'm not mistaken. That's when the whole Kaepernick stuff, I think, initially started, but didn't start right there. It started the next year because they benched him for Blaine Gabbert.
I wasn't even going into Kaepernick as much as I was. Look at the quarterback changes that the 49ers have had in that year. And also look at the fact that Alex Smith was the #1 pick in the NFL, and he was also traded less than 6 seasons after being drafted.
Yeah,
7 seasons, something like that. Yeah, it's about 7 seasons. And he was injured in San Francisco before the big injury here. So you have up and down years, but he was always a consistent player. I don't think anything that happened was Alex Smith's fault per se in San Francisco. But I'm talking about the pick, and I'm talking about if it doesn't work, how that franchise has moved on continually from that position until it found its way and working out with Brock Purdy. So I'm not sure if that's where I'm a little worried and a little bit confused at. And I know I sent y'all a big old paragraph earlier, but I didn't want to forget it for tonight, which was that may be how I'm able to decipher whether this is a owner GM pick or if this is just a GM pick, because I am not sure if the best move is to pick a franchise, if they would say quarterback, if your franchise isn't all the way together yet.
Yes. That's what I've been saying a lot too. My take on it.
Hold on. But before we get into that, let me get the introductions on and let me get Big Son's analysis on because he's not gonna be with us too long today. So let me get his analysis on the offensive and defensive lines for the NFL draft, because that's what we're covering today. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody out there listening. This is the Nature Sports Podcast. My bad for cutting off the co-host. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure that we get Big Son's analysis on the offensive and defensive line. And because that's exactly what we're covering today, the offensive and defensive line in the NFL 2024 NFL draft. And we also gonna cover some of the moves that was made and everything else. But before we do that, again, Big Son not gonna be with us too long tonight. So I want to get Big Son's analysis. What you got for the offensive line, Big Son?
How y'all doing, fellas? By the way, I know I ain't talked to nobody in a few days, ain't texting nothing, but it's been crazy. Anywho,
What it do, brother?
I can honestly say that this draft is deep with tackles. I like the top 10 guys that they have in the draft for tackles. So, which puts me in the mind frame of MHJ. Seriously, I know we talk offensive line, but with the offensive line that we have out there, MHJ is very possible to get it to. But defensive line, I'm a little concerned that um we might not address it now because I mean, as far as edge rushers here, but interior, I don't think we're going to address it during the draft because we just picked up a guy. I think earlier today or yesterday, I can't remember. But I honestly think that they should have waited until the draft came because you got some pretty good, decent guys coming out of college. I don't think it's the plethora of like the outside, the offensive tackles, but you got a nice little bunch of D tackles that could come and make some noise. The guy out of Alabama, the guy out of LSU. I forget the guy out of LSU's name, but I just want to honestly, in all reality check, MH Marvin Harrison Jr. is definitely the way to go. And if you make that pick right, all the other picks that you make after him should follow in the right direction on the upward. Like after he gets picked, we're looking at a tackle. As we pick that tackle, we're looking at possibly a quarterback who might be left around like before Rowe said. I want to give the correct credit to the person. Was it you who watched the film on Joe Milton Rowe?
I watched his draft day. I mean his
Okay.
pro day. And Vito watched it too though. Vito watched it as well.
I did a couple mock drafts and Joe Milton was hanging around in the fourth and the fifth. I'm like, this can't be true.
Yes,
But
not gonna go early. He only got 1 year of official tape, and it's not a lot. So he only threw 20 touchdowns, 5 picks, about 23 to 2,500 yards in the whole season. I have to go back and look and see if he started, but he was a senior, and I don't recall him not starting. So I'm not really sure what the numbers were down for. He wasn't injured this year. From looking at the stats, he was in every game. So I'm not sure if they were just, you know how sometimes you're beating teams by so much you don't get a chance to play the second half. They could have been more of a running team this season. He don't have a lot of running yards, so either the running back out of Tennessee would be crazy. I don't see a lot of Tennessee wide receivers on the board, so I gotta go back and look at some actual games on that one.
Okay.
Let me ask you though, Big Son, who is your top tackle in this draft for Washington?
You said my top tackle?
Yeah, who you got as the top tackle in the draft for Washington that Washington will actually get a chance to pick, or in general? Let's not even just say for Washington. Who is your top? Let's say your top 3 tackles in this draft. Who you got?
Let's see. The guy. What's my man name? Not Joe Alt. Everybody all over Joe Alt. Not Joe Alt. I think it's the guy. I gotta find his name real quick because I really like the guy. He's out of Georgia. Mims.
Mims, yeah.
Yeah, I like Mims.
Yeah, Amaris Mims.
Yeah, I like Mims. I haven't really got a chance to watch film, but I watched some highlights and I like the way Mims work. I like the way his punches at the point of attack. I like the way he when it's inside pressure, he keeps his hips square. He don't, try to give up too much leverage. But the thing about Mims is Mims might go a little early. I don't think we might have a chance to. If we have a chance to grab Mims and he's on the board, when we get down there to that pick, I think we grab Mims because that'll solidify the left side of that line.
Yeah.
I also like um Troy out of Washington. Tackle out of Washington. I like him.
Yep.
He's ranked 13th overall on the PFF big board. Um,
Troy
he's he
Fontenot.
huh
Troy Fontenot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason why I like him because he's shifty. He can play center and or guard. You know, he's already at the tackle
Good choice.
position, but he can
Good, good
shift to
choice, Big
center
Son. Good
and
choice.
guard. So you have a guy that
Mhm.
can be versatile across your line. You know, if you don't plan on picking up any more guards or anything like that during the draft or whatever have you, he could be versatile across your line. That'll be a good pick as well. But
Absolutely.
again, he's at 13, you know, on the big board. So that's overall, where they see him at.
That's a good choice, though.
Um,
Great choice. Excellent choice.
but yeah, those are my two dogs that I like. I like the
Absolutely.
Georgia Bulldog
That's
Mims,
good choices.
and I like Troy out of Washington.
Yeah, I think those are solid. I watched film on a lot of offensive linemen over the last couple of days. That's solid. Those are solid picks. Those are solid
Yeah.
choices.
And
Those are solid
also,
choices.
like in Washington, Troy comes from the zone blocking scheme, so no telling what we're gonna be running here. But if we are running some zone blocking, he's real good at that. So
Oh yeah,
that'll be a big plus for us if we're running that.
absolutely, absolutely. So we can swing it around to the guys, man. And what y'all got on the offensive line? Y'all want to make any, you know, any declarations per se, or anything else regarding the offensive line or defensive line? We just swing it on around.
Yeah, I can start off a little bit. I will say that I would like to see us draft a tackle. And with the 40th pick, I believe that's the 40th pick we have. Because I would like to draft Harrison and then draft the quarterback, Bo Nix or Michael Penix, whichever one I think might be in that spot. If we're not going to go with that spot, I would like to see us draft a tackle at 36. With that being said, it's a couple guys that I do like potentially that will be around right there. But my top three, I would say, mine is Joe Alt, number one. I just like his game. I ain't gonna hold you. There's a lot of people that had a lot of speculation. I really do like Joe Alt game. He a big guy, get to pushing everybody around as well. I think he solidifies your left side of your line. So if you're not going to trade away the pick and you're not going to get Marvin Harrison, I think Joe Alt is a great pick. Uh, I do like Fatanu, but he's going to be my honorable mention. Number two, I got to go with the road tie boy, J.C. Latham. 6'6", 360, 5-star recruit. You know what I'm saying? Like he got size and he plays excellent. You know what I mean? Like strong, he'll push you around. You know what I'm saying? And so those are my two top guys. And like I said, I like Fatanu. I'm not going to add Fatanu here because I want to add somebody that I think that we might can actually get. And that is Patrick Paul from Houston.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I think that we could potentially use him. We can get him at that pick, and I think he's going to be a good addition. He looks and moves. Excuse me. He looks the part. He's got the right size. He moves very well. He got really long arms, which is what they do in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? They like to have like long arms for their outside position. Not saying that he's Trent, but he's somebody that we can really say that we got another left tackles, and we haven't had one since Trent. So I would really love the draft tackle. Since we did get a center, I don't think we're gonna get any more interior linemen. I think that's basically about it, unless we can get a steal in a late round.
Absolutely. What you got, Vito?
All right, all right. Give me 1 second. Get my stuff pulled up. Um, Good evening, everybody. Uptown Vito is usually for most of y'all regulars know. Anybody that's new, I handle player personnel throughout the year, 10-year vet. Remind all my guys, it's been a long 10 years, but we've been here each and every season for you guys and for the Nature Sports Show. Just bring you any update, news, and our views on the team as they are being developed, hopefully into a winner for the first time in a long time. We are on their backs to make sure that that is brought to you guys. First and foremost, up to date would be the tackles or the linemen in the draft. Offensive side, I'll go first. Defensive side, I'll address in a second. Offensively, there is no one better at the tackle position than Joe Alt. I think that I agree with Leo. If you do pick at number 2, you have to go Joe Alt. The reason being is because you have to think about your division first. I know that now that we've talked about it, I know that Dan Quinn knows the Cowboys very well. The most dangerous person in our division is Michael Parsons on the line. The very next up would be Hassan Reddick. There's probably Sweat and Freddie Cox to go along with that on that Eagles front. But that left side is where a lot of problems we've had have come in the last 2 seasons. And I'm not sure if you can fix that overnight. I do think that someone that is going to be there that you can rely on every single day would be a Joe Alt at that position. Do I think any of these other guys have the juice to be on that line and work well? Yes. So I'll give everybody my top 3. First and foremost, like I said, Joe Alt, I don't think that there's anybody better. At 6'7", 322, you are looking at a giant. If we look
I got him at 6'8".
I got him at 6'9".
Joe,
on my site, I'm looking at got him at 6'9". But go ahead, my bad.
So let's get that because we want to be correct here. You know what I'm saying? 21 years of age. Joe Alt is the height of 6'8". He is 2.03 meters. So
Okay.
that's 6'8".
Okay.
All right. Even still, if y'all know anything about tackles in this league, and it's not about height or hating on anybody short. I'm a short guy, so I can't hate on nobody short. But tackles at 6'7" and 6'8" have had historically great success in the NFL. Their range, their punch, their ability to get their hands on guys before they can make moves have been a staple on several offenses. We'll go with Orlando Brown. We give you Walter Joneses with that famous Seattle team that went to the Seahawks that gave Sean Alexander the rushing title that year. They literally ran to one side the entire football season. That's how dominant someone at that size that can move can do. The Ravens continuously had a great running offense for years with Jamal Lewis and that team because they had someone that was a staple there. So Joe would be my first and foremost. Yes, Jonathan Ogden. It would be my first and foremost pick. That, like I said, that reminded me of Chris Samuels or a John Jansen, or again, a Trent Williams. Also, Peters, coming from that 49ers regime, understands how important that piece is because he took it from us. I also think that may have been a little bit of Kyle's influence there, but I also think that Peters also knew what was available and they jumped right. So, you know what I'm saying? That was a perfect situation there. Notre Dame, I don't believe gave up any sacks in his entire career there. That is something that this team has had probably its worst season in quarterback hitting and quarterback sacks in probably history, if not very close to one of the top. So that's going to be a situation that you have to address right away. My number 2, though. My number 2 will be very interesting. I do not believe that the other guys are going to be busts. I do not mean that by not picking them, but by picking the other 2, I'll make this interesting. From Texas, Christian Jones.
I like him.
I really like Christian Jones.
I like him. He was up there.
I really like Christian Jones. I'm not sure if it was their particular offense in Texas, but they've been on the map and they've been under the radar for the last 3 seasons, and they've performed well each of the last 3 years. Christian Jones is a animal, bruh.
Yep.
He's an animal. 6'6", 321. He's, to me, he's just a dog, bruh. They were 12-2 this year. I think he gave up 2 sacks. If not, I don't think it was any, but maybe get his numbers mixed up with somebody else. So I'll have to get back to that one to give the exacts. But regardless of that, I liked his game. He was able to move on pulls, and you know they usually only use the guards for that most of the time. On screen plays, he was active and out in the middle of the field. He was able to move most of the top end edge guys that were coming in this season. He were able to handle them with ease. I really like him as my second. My third is a little bit of a reach, only because I believe that if we pick tackle first, Joe Alt's the pick. So there's no reason for me to pick any more of the top guys because we're not going to get any of the other top guys. So that's why my rotation is a little bit different. Do I think that this is the order? No, I do not believe that that's the order. Do I believe that these guys are better than everybody else on the board? No, I am making my pick simply based on where we can draft and what may be available for us. So that's my top 3 in that aspect. I do like Leo. I do like Paul from Houston. I do think that that's a sleeper pick, actually. I'm not sure if everybody was hip to Houston this year, but they're a heavy passing team. They did run a good amount, but they were heavy passing this year, and they played really well. Paul played really well. I won't say Houston played well, but Paul played really well. But I like Kieran Amagaje from Yale. Yale's not usually him, and Roger Rosengarten would probably be my 3.
Hey, I'm hip to Rosengarten, man.
Washington had a phenomenal season this year. Rosengarten was a big deal on that line. I think that Kieran Amangaje is under the radar because of Yale and people considering that Yale may not have the quality of football. He's my 3B because of where he can fall if we address some of the other needs first. I believe that he'll be available for us to snatch up with one of those 3rd round picks.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Absolutely. All right, so I'm gonna start mine off like this. I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm gonna be the one to go against the grain. I'm gonna say Joe Alt, and I'm a Notre Dame fan. I'm the only Notre Dame fan here. As crazy as that sounds, I'm the only Notre Dame fan here. And I'm gonna say Joe Alt is not the best tackle. You know, I'm just gonna go against the grain. Everybody went with Alt as number 1. I'm gonna go with somebody else, and I'm gonna tell you why. So Notre Dame passed the ball this year 301 times, and they ended up with 14 sacks. And they play in a division that's not as strong as the other guy who I'm about to name. Just to side with what Big Son said, I think Amaris Mims is the best tackle in this draft because Georgia passed the ball 417 times this year. Oh, let me get Vito back on. Georgia passed the ball 417 times this year, and as a unit, they only gave up 11 sacks, and they play in the SEC. So for my money, if and of course I don't think, how would I say it? If you're gonna pick a tackle, I would pick Mims before I picked Alt. No knock to Alt. I think Alt is great. I think he's a probably. I think Mims is 1, and I would put Alt as 1A. That's how close they are to me. But if I had to choose one, I would pick Mims before Alt.
Real quick question, bro.
Uh-huh.
And you know, since you're going against the grain, and my real quick question, just like because I like to debate with you.
Okay.
Who won the national championship the last 2 years? What division?
Who won it? Who won it this year? That was
Washington, I believe.
That was the Pac-12. Washington, the Pac-12.
Year before was Ohio State, right?
Yeah, Ohio State. Yep.
Big Ten.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So is the SEC the best if they aren't representing the country?
I think they have the best pass rushers. I think defensively they are the best. I think defensively, week in and week out across the board, you
Hold
get
up,
better
hold up.
pass rushers there.
Hold on, man. You can't be disrespecting the SEC like that. Hold up, man.
What
Hold up, man.
that wasn't disrespect.
No, that was a legit question. No, that's legit.
That was
That's
a legit question. On top of it being a legit question, if they have not represented the entire NCAA the last 2 seasons, then it would go to argue that those other conferences has gotten a little bit better. That's all.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
got
No,
better, but they not
Georgia was there, but they just didn't get a seat at the table.
they
Yeah.
not the
When
best.
Alabama goes, even when they're at the table, they go to the dinner. When Georgia goes, they don't always go to the dinner. So if another team from another conference is able to beat them, I'm just saying that they have an
I'm just
argument
saying,
at
man.
being the best. They have an argument at being the best conference.
That's legit. That's a legit question. And the reason
I
I
mean,
say this is because
I'm not saying you can't argue it. I'm just
Uh-huh.
saying that, man, we've been doing this, the SEC, for the last. I mean, think about it, Georgia. Think about, all of the teams in the SEC that's been holding it down. So
What
it's not
position does
just
the
it's not just Alabama. I'm an
what
Alabama fan,
position
but
is
it's
the
not just
SEC
Alabama.
getting rings in right now?
Huh?
What conference is getting the NFL championships right now? Because I think Michigan holds the title for most NFL Super Bowls right now with Tom Brady.
You said Michigan?
Yeah.
Where's the SEC
That's the
guys
Big
at
Ten.
winning the big game?
I'm with you there, but I'm talking pass rushers though. Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, especially here.
They don't get that many sacks.
They've had double-digit season sacks at tackle though. Both of them. They had a double-digit season at tackle. You know what I'm saying?
Not together, I believe. I don't believe they had one together.
Was that 2 years ago that they had one together? We'll check it.
Yeah, that was a couple of years ago. No, matter of fact, I think Jonathan Allen had 9 that season.
Okay.
Payne.
That
Payne. What Payne got? 13 or 14 that season?
No. He only had 10 and a half.
Yeah.
He didn't have.
Oh well.
I wish he would have had 14. He probably would have been in the playoffs.
The guy that had our most sacks was from the SEC. Was from Missouri. That would be Montez Sweat.
Montez.
Right. And that's what I'm just saying is just in the weekend. And another thing is because Notre Dame was a running team this year too. You know what I mean? They ran the ball heavy, which is good for all too, no doubt. But when it comes to pass protection, which is what we had a problem with last year, Amaris Mims had to protect on 117 more passes. Notre Dame passed the ball 300 times, and Georgia passed the ball 417 times, and yet Georgia gave up 11 sacks as a unit, and Notre Dame gave up 14 as a unit, even though having to pass the ball 100 less times.
But how many did Mims give up? Because only got 4 sacks his whole career.
I agree.
That's a sack a season. That's pretty good. It's pretty damn good.
That's consistent on a team that is an independent that plays everybody.
Yeah. I agree.
They play all conferences.
But if he was in the SEC, would it look like that?
They play all conferences.
They play everybody. They do play everybody.
They
play everybody, but their schedule is not a schedule as the SEC team.
Everybody in the SEC is not good.
Exactly.
He's allowed 0.93 sacks this year.
That was this year.
Yeah.
His whole career though.
0.3 sack. They say he ranked 7th nationally, and he was 1st in the SEC.
And Joe, hold on. He's 7th nationally and 1st in the SEC, and Joe Alt ranks a number of players above him. Remember what we were talking about with Marvin Harrison Jr. is overall athlete. Joe Alt is the 5th overall athlete in the draft.
I agree, but I'm still gonna take Mims, but only because of the level of competition and because of the number that I'm looking at, which is as a unit. As a unit, they've had, to me, when you pass the ball 417 times, and as a unit, you only in the SEC, as a unit, up 11 sacks. In the SEC with that on a pass, I'm gonna take you because I know you can pass block. I know you can pass protect. That's not a question.
So you got them trading out of that spot.
I could trade back, yeah. If I felt like Mims would be there, I would trade back and get Mims. before if I was getting a tackle. If my goal was to get a tackle in the first
Well,
round,
I would say that
I would
if you
trade back
did,
and jump on Mims.
If Mims is your guy, right? I would say that trading back is definitely the best option because it's no point unless you're going to draft Marvin Harrison. You know what I'm saying?
You're not gonna be able to get both of them unless you give up all your second round picks.
But would no, you could give up 1 second round and
To
1 3rd
move
round.
first of all, you got to remember that every other team is also watching what we're building. They're not going to just let us do that. So in order to move in the first round, if I'm another GM, both of those second round picks have to come. It's nothing else you're gonna be able to. It's nothing you're gonna be able to sell me without giving me a player, and everybody else that you have on your roster other than McLaurin is not worth me having this conversation when I'm getting ready to draft talent.
Shit, it depends on what the team needs.
You're gonna give up Allen and Payne, and McLaurin is the only worth you have outside of the players you just picked. You can't trade them yet because they're still under the initial 45 or something amount of day rule. So you're not gonna be able to trade them. Brian Robinson is not worth is again with Corson being on the table before you draft your second pick. I'm not going to pick Brian Robinson when I have a running back that looks like he's going to be probably miles ahead of him right away.
No, well, I'm not saying. I was just saying trade value. I wasn't necessarily saying trade Brian Robinson. I think it's plenty of trade value. I was just saying that that's one person that has some trade value right now, Brian Robinson.
I don't know if you give up your first round for Brian Robinson though. Like those two picks.
Yeah, not a first rounder. No.
Those two.
No, listen,
even with those two picks.
Even with those two picks. Round, to get into the first round. I think he's going to last until around 20, maybe 15 to 20, right? So let's say we go 20. Say we going for the 20th pick. He ain't been drafted. It's pick 18. He ain't been drafted, right? You can trade, to me, my opinion, you could trade that 36 pick and Brian Robinson and the 3rd round from either this year or next year, whatever the case may be, and get back into that first round. And I'm not saying trade Brian Robinson because I think Brian Robinson a baller, but I'm saying as far as just trade value, I think you can do that in the NFL.
But then for me, it's what are you looking at quarterback at that point?
Right, because you're giving up your extra assets that you may need, that you're going to you're going to need other people. You need a cornerback. You need
my opinion. If you're gonna go with if that's my opinion, if you're gonna go with Eckler, if you're saying Eckler gonna be the starter, we're not really gonna use Brian Robinson, but as the second back. And then we could upgrade Christian Gonzalez to second back or whatever the case may be. That's only if that's the plan. You get what I'm saying? That's why I'm not saying trade.
Doxson got some trade value too, though.
Doxson, especially if you draft.
You only have one wide receiver at that point.
I agree. Then you have to get it.
No.
Yeah, that's a calamity.
But see, listen. But what I'm talking about is the second pick anyway, the 36th or the 40th pick. So that second pick, you can definitely draft Marvin Harrison if you're going to trade Jahan Doxson to get back into that first round.
To pick a lineman, and you still have to pick a wide receiver. Now you trading first wide receiver talent for 3rd round wide receiver talent. That don't make sense.
No, listen. You're trading Jahan Doxson, right? And you're trading the 36th pick, right? Mm-hmm. And you're using that to get into the first round because that's your 36th pick. Your second pick, you still could, if you've drafted Marvin Harrison, right? Let's say we draft Marvin Harrison.
So you're saying go Harrison and Mims, basically, and then go quarterback.
And then go get
what quarterback do you have left at that point?
Nix, Penix, Milton.
Nix
is not going to be there. Nix is going in the first round.
I don't think so.
Nix and Penix were honestly stat-wise, they were the top 2 quarterbacks in the draft.
Yeah, I don't think so. See, that's what I'm saying. Nix and Penix, I think you got both of them in the second round early. I'm not saying you might even have to make another trade from 40 to get down to back to close to 35 or something.
Bo Nix number on the board is 30. He's 30.
So, the Broncos
right on the edge,
and the Raiders like Penix. If Daniels and Caleb Williams are off the board and they can't make a trade, the Raiders are looking at Penix Jr. Even if he's not the first pick, they looking at him for their second pick.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I get that a lot of teams got more than one pick. So what I'm saying is that just my opinion. I'm not saying that it will work, but I just explained what you could do potentially, and you could
That's I,
trade that
I,
40th pick, and
that's what I'm saying. That's
and
enough
you
value.
still might get Bo Nix because Bo Nix is, from what I've seen, Bo Nix is like is in the 30s right now. He early second round. He's not first day person, so I think either one of
Well,
those
let me
guys
throw
is
another
pretty
person
good.
out there that might shake it up. Let's say you go Harrison first, right? And then you go, let's say Knicks. Okay, boom. You go Harrison. Knicks happens to be on the board at 36. You snatch up Knicks. Now at tackle, see, everybody's talking about what Big Son said. This is going back to Big Son's original point. And points original pick too, which was
Yeah,
Troy Fontenot, right? Now, what people then forgot about though is on the other side of Fontenot, you got a guy named Roger Rosengarten.
yeah, Rosen. Whatever.
Yeah.
I know you're talking about.
Now you
That's
could
who he picked.
possibly go there.
V brought up him.
And he's just as, and I'm about to tell you something crazy thing. He's running 4.92. He's 6'5", 308, run a 4.92.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all
And
seen
he only gave up 11 sacks this year too, and they were a pass-heavy offense as well. And their competition was top-notch. As y'all say, this is a national championship.
Hey, bro, did you see my draft board a couple days ago that I sent? He was on my draft board.
See, there you go.
Because I know. Listen, what I'm saying is that right now, if you look at our team, right, as a whole, right, you say we got a hole to fill at quarterback, we got a hole to fill at left tackle and right tackle. Okay, we got a hole to fill at
You don't
safety.
have a hole to fill at right tackle.
You do. You got two tackles that you really need. I know that y'all, because y'all ain't feeling.
Man,
y'all, I don't think so either. What y'all want to go with? Y'all want to go with what's the guy from last year? Wiley. Yeah.
Yes.
Man.
AT double hockey sticks. No.
No, man.
Listen to what I'm saying. First of all, chill real quick. Just logically. You're not going to go from a Super Bowl winning fucking tackle to a rookie when you don't have a left tackle. To pick a right tackle that high up to compete with somebody you're paying 9 point something million, probably 13 million.
Trade him.
Oh my God. Okay.
Don't nobody want that. I don't want
we
that.
don't know that he's going to be bad again this year, though, y'all. Y'all got to give.
Well, I know I can guarantee that for y'all right now. And run it back on the show at the end of the year. He's going to be bad.
Yeah,
he might even be
he
worse.
looked at him in Kansas City, and
That's just my opinion. Listen, this is just my opinion. That's why I said a hole to fill on right tackle, because my opinion is Wiley was garbage. And guess what? He gonna play right next to the same.
Cannot keep doing this week in and week out. That y'all
just my opinion. This is my opinion.
I'm with you, Vito. You probably gonna have to go with Wiley. They probably gonna go with Wiley.
Listen. This
but
is
you need a backup plan though. You need a backup plan. Who's over there? Who's over there to help him?
You signed Lucas back. You just brought back Lucas.
Yep.
Again, I say, who's over there to help him?
Nobody.
Oh my God, Leno, y'all do know that Lucas did not play as bad as Leno. Leno was horrible.
Yeah. Lucas
was not that bad. And for a backup, and for a backup that has experience, you have to understand that that's better when we're talking about a better offensive unit. I mean, a better offensive line unit than what you had the year before. You had a junior high school unit last year. Everybody knows that. For Wiley, you added pressure to that side. I'm not saying that he played well. I am not about to excuse that and say that he did. What I am saying is that if we all agree that last year was a tank season, we have to say that we don't know what we got because we don't know what was done intentionally and what was not.
I agree with that. Listen, but I'm just saying, in my opinion, Wiley's a little older anyway. This is a whole because he didn't play well and he's a little older. It's not just that he did. It's not just that he didn't play well, but he's a little older too. He's been in the league a long time now. So,
I mean, Wiley's like what, 31,
so
32?
Going away.
Wiley was. What was what? Nah, Wiley
was
like
what? He just turned 30.
I think he's
20, I mean, I'm 39. I'm about to say 30
he's 29. Yeah, he's still in his 20s.
Years
old. I thought he was like 32.
No, he's still in his 20s.
Yeah, he young boy.
Okay, my bad. I thought
he a young screw up. He got time to learn.
All right, well, if that's the case, I guess we can keep Wiley. But either which way, I still want to draft the right tackle, even if it ain't early, whatever the case may be. We do need a left tackle, though. That's the biggest hole. Quarterback, left tackle, and to me, tight end on the offensive side of the ball. You get what I'm saying? The wide receiver, the reason I would even though that's not a hole, I think the wide receiver can change your Marvin Harrison, a Malik Neighbor, somebody like that can change your whole
You said
offense.
that's not a hole,
It's not the biggest hole. I'm talking about big holes. The big hole right now, in my opinion, is left tackle.
bro.
It's
We passed
probably the
the
biggest
ball.
hole on
We
the team.
passed the ball more than anybody in our division,
Yeah.
almost more than anybody in the league, and we only had a barely 1,000-yard receiver.
I agree. I agree. Listen, I agree. I'm not saying this, but I'm saying a lot of that, in my opinion, was Sam Howell holding the ball. A lot of that was the offensive line not playing well. It is a mixture, and then, like we said, tank season. So don't get me wrong. I think Jahan Dotson, to me, is a really good player. I do think we do need another player. So I'm not saying it's the immediate hole. If I'm saying in ranking to me, left tackle got to be the number one hold the field, and then it's quarterback, and you know what I'm saying. Just in my opinion,
Could
because
be.
like, no offense to Mariota or whatever the case may be, I wouldn't like it, but if it is an option and we're gonna go with Mariota, I hope we take against so we can get Shador Sanders or
Yeah.
something like that. If that's
I
if
would
that's
just
what the
have to
plan is,
say that
if that was the
to
plan.
me, if you say what is the option that is what's in front of you, what presents you, and what is presented to us. If Caleb Williams is picking the first pick, the second pick is presented to us to upgrade this team, and I'm going wide receiver
Yeah, I'm going. That's
all
going to
day.
change the offense because
I'm
at the
going
end of
what's
the
going to
day,
change the offense.
if,
So to me, that's number one.
I agree
You
with Big
know,
Son on that.
when you look at it, when you say what's your number one hold to feel,
I,
that's what you're
I
gonna
think you
feel
got to.
I
with
got a
your pick.
question. I got a
You
question.
feel
I
me?
got a question. Hold up. I got a quick question there for that. If and this is a hypothetical, of course. If Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison was not there this year, right? And there was and let's say we keep the same board, but without them, do you draft Joe Alt at that point? Because that's the biggest need.
No, I get capital because there's so many linemen. I get
No,
capital. It
no,
ain't. I'm
no,
not taking
no.
Joe. I get capital. I drop back a couple spots, give me some capital and some revenue because Joe is not the only answer.
I am going to get a quarterback. Even though I do not necessarily agree with what's right there, I'm going to get a quarterback because, like you said, I'm not going with Mariota. And once you pick a Marvin Harrison Jr. off the board, if you're not willing to give up those second round picks to move into the first round to get who you believe is going to be your quarterback, no other team in the NFL is going to allow you to get a top end guy. They're going to pick the quarterback for you on purpose so that they have trade bait or trade value later on, or they're going to make sure that the Redskins got to use Mariota or some rookie from somewhere else and see if these coaches know how to coach. That's me. That's what I'm doing if I see what the Redskins have done, or excuse me, what the Commanders have done in the free agency in the offseason. If you're
And
not
you
going
know what my plan for that will be?
you say what?
You know what? Just my if you did that, if I picked that and you did that, I would go Joe Milton late in like the third round in one of my third round picks.
So that's what I'm saying. What you're doing is you're still what you're doing now is what you have to do, excuse me, at that point, which I'm not saying can't be done. That is a challenge, but I also think it can be done, but it's a reach.
Yeah, it is.
What you're doing is taking a quarterback that almost nobody has enough film on, and you're going to use him to not only throw the deep ball, but you're going to use him to find a way to make the other passes that some of these other guys have famously became higher prospects because of that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I like Milton for the deep ball. I have to go watch what else he's able to do because 20-5 in a 2,000 plus yard season is a super small sample size. And
It
he was
is.
a senior, meaning that all the other years that you played, he has no numbers larger than his last year. That could be because you were backing up other people. Tom Brady had the same thing. It's a couple of other quarterbacks that I can't think of right now that had the same thing, but they were just sitting behind the starter. It wasn't that they weren't good; they just sat behind the starter. Tua Tagovailoa, if it wasn't for the championship game, he would be a backup from Alabama, but he probably would have been a prospect to be drafted, just maybe not as high. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He still was a good quarterback. But again, with Milton, your coaching staff is going to have to, like I said, design an offense that I don't think would be harder to do than it would be to structure an offense around a quarterback that you haven't had experience with. You know what I'm saying? Kingsbury has the biggest scrambler he's worked with was Kyler Murray, and I don't think he got hurt. So you know what I'm saying? Not even to say that he did a good job or a bad job. The result that everyone's afraid of with Daniels is that is of him getting injured. Kyler Murray got injured, and Kingsbury had him as his coordinator and coach. So I don't necessarily want that, but at the same token, this team needs a leader. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, that is what's being sold. And I'm only saying quarterback because of what I text you guys earlier. You know what I'm saying? There's only two ways around this in the draft. You know what I'm saying? The owner was at all of the meetings. The owner was at training camp. The owner was at the combine, was at all of the little sessions and stuff like that. He's setting on all of them jumps. And the reason why I'm saying they're going quarterback is because, like I said, if that happens, I'm going to agree with Roe on the whole tanking thing, because this is going to be the same thing as the 76ers. It's going to be pick the best player at the leadership position. And if we got a tank via injury or whatever the case may be, or even if we just got a tank, it's going to literally just be to get him better. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever it is to get him better. If we got to get him bigger, you get him bigger. You sit him on the bench, or you say you're not good enough. You talk trash about him and everything. Just make the mystery that he's going to be around at some time. Now, the problem to me with that is the fact that the kid is already 24, about to be 25. What, you sit him around till he's 27?
Right. That's the thing.
You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I agree with everyone on the podcast today, and that's usually not always the case, which is still a beautiful thing. I don't look to disagree with y'all, but I find it hard to believe that they're going to go with quarterback, because once Caleb is gone, and that's why I said that I think Chicago picks him, because Caleb, out of everybody on the board, on the immediate first round, second round board, Caleb has had to do it with the least amount of talent.
Is it least amount of talent?
Yes, to me, Caleb had to do it with the least amount of talent out of the big names, out of the Bo Nix. The McCarthy may have not have had the bigger names either, but Michigan was always.
I don't know. I like Rice, man. I don't know.
I said Michigan may not have had production because they ran the ball a lot, but they had big names because they had big recruits. So those are still dominant position players. What I'm saying with Caleb is that because he had very little running yards and he had a whole lot of passing yards and a whole lot of plays from in the pocket, all of that moving away from getting sacked and trying to throw the ball downfield, I think what that may have showed Chicago is that if we didn't have talent, like with Justin Fields, with this Justin Fields situation, Keenan Allen is getting older. They still have to make the right calls there. They let go Mooney. You know what I'm saying? So they got DJ Moore, Keenan Allen. They got to add to that still. But if anybody goes down and they got a limited amount of talent, can the quarterback that we pick for our franchise still go out there and win us a game, or at least put us in position to win a game? I think Caleb right now, and I know it's a reach, you guys maybe, but I've been watching a lot of film on this kid just because of the pro day stuff. Because I felt the same way you did, bro. I did think he was inaccurate on some throw. He was inaccurate at. I looked at his body position. I looked at his footwork. His footwork is always in position to throw the ball. Every rep that he did, he's always in position to throw the ball. Now, again, there's no rush coming to you and all of that, but they said that they put him in certain scenarios for certain throws and stuff like that. And I like his posture. You know what I'm saying? And that's just something that all quarterbacks don't always, you know what I'm saying? Like some quarterbacks get lazy with that sometimes. I felt like his posture was completely the same every rep. It was just certain things that I just really liked about why I think that they were going to pick him. There's still the opportunity or possibility that we trade and move up to pick him. And if you do that, it bothers me because I feel like you're banking your future on him. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if you don't do this,
no, I don't think they're doing that.
I because Daniel scares me on getting hurt, and because me personally, I watched every bit of tape I could on Drake May today. And I don't use this word often. And Drake May, if you're listening, I don't hate you as a person. I hate your game. I am sorry. And the next level, some coach is going to have to prove that you can beat man coverage, because you are going to get picked up like Kirk Cousins a whole lot, son. He cannot. Everybody he threw to in man coverage was on the very tippy toes or the back of the wide receiver. And in the NFL, those are not play. In the college, you're supposed to have a foot or two on your receiver. I mean, for your receiver to catch the ball. That's what leading in college is. I've been taught that a long time ago. That's how you read quarterbacks in their ball position in college. If they're able to put their wide receiver a step or two ahead of the cornerback, then that is where you know that they can hit a covered receiver in the NFL. If they're always like, it's cool to hit tight windows because those show that you can make those plays. But when almost all of his passes in man coverage are like that, that scares me, because if there's going to be man coverage ran against him in the league because of that. Whenever they play against him, that's what they're going to probably run in pressure situations, is man defense, because he's going to end up throwing interceptions. Unless somebody can fix that, and I don't know if you can fix that by picking him and putting him in a position of possibly starting right away, because whoever picks him is going to start him right away.
Mac
Yeah.
Jones.
Yeah.
He's
Can we
really
say
good
Mac
at zone.
Jones? Anybody?
No, he's
Yeah.
really good at zone. Like if a team come out
I
and play
think
zone,
he's the next Zach Wilson. Personally, I don't think we should draft him
ooh,
high like that. I think he's the next Zach Wilson. I think
yeah,
he's
but
high.
that's why
Yeah.
I say that the possibility of moving up to get Caleb is still out there, because I don't think the first two guys after Caleb are going to help the team. Like Daniels has the ability to be RG3. Like, let's not take that off the table. And I don't mean RG3. I mean he can be better actually. You know what I'm saying? Today's
Yeah.
systems are suited around what RG3 was able to create. Systems are basically made to do that these days. So you got more coaches that can coach that style. You have players that
Ooh.
can help in that
Something just
position.
came to mind real quick, Vito. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
So, real quick, I was watching. I actually talk about RG3. I was watching him, Santana, and who we had that
Garcon?
year, Garcon and Aldrich.
Yeah.
They was getting it in. So, with say, this a hard drift now, because say we did draft Jaden Daniels. We already got McLaurin. We already got John. Do you see any other quarterback other than Neighbors and MHJ
Talking about receiver.
receiver? Yeah, that could possibly add to that tandem if we were to get Jane Daniels. And if it was a receiver who could add to that tandem, would they put up the same type of numbers that RG3 put up with Moss and them?
It's
Yes,
good.
if you can. So
Mm.
Jane Daniels, I believe, was 175 pounds during his college season, his senior season. I believe he didn't weigh on the combine to get bigger during his pro day. Let's just say that month time that you bulk up 10 pounds. All right. And that could be overeating and everything like that. It may affect your 40 time and all that. They know you can run, so I really don't think that they really care as much because they got film with you running. But if it was to add weight, then it'd be understood. Again, I think it would be more about it. Can you at least keep up this speed that you had on a consistent level with the weight added? All of that is a lot in a month time. All right. I've tried to work out myself recently. 2 to 3 pounds is what the normal person averages. These are athletes and they are specimens. So I think that maybe 5 to 7 what you add. So let's say that's about 182, 185 if you're lucky by the time you get drafted. You still got 3 more season starts. So you need to be at least 190 to 195. That's 20 extra pounds that you add to a player who has been used to carrying around 175 pounds his whole football college life, at least, let's say. And maybe he was thinner and got 25, but you're talking about almost 25 years old and you're at 175 pounds. This is what you're used to walking around as. So to think about adding 20 more pounds of muscle in an off season, they can throw off your throwing mechanics. It can also make you stronger and make your arm stronger, make your arm better, but you still got to do all of these other workouts to make sure that your arm is straight. And that's a lot of investment for a number 2 pick for a quarterback who is already ready to throw the ball. Like even for Drake May, even though I think man coverage you're getting another Kirk Cousins, like I don't know what, he's ready to throw the ball without adding any immediate weight right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can see the pick. I'm not saying that I like it at all. Redskin Nation, I am not liking that pick at all, but I can see the pick happening. Not saying that I agree with it, but I can see it happening because he has what you're supposed to have right away. Caleb Williams has what you're supposed to have right away. Are there deficiencies with each of these quarterbacks? Yes, there are things that each of those offenses have to work on, and that's for them to do, for all of us to see when they start playing. But Jaden, to me, I feel like you have to work on whether he gets your new playbook or whether you build this playbook around him, and how do you develop that once he gets it. And you still have to physically develop him as well, meaning his body and his durability, making sure that the ACL is fully recovered. And that's even though he played a whole season on it this year, you still have to reevaluate that because he didn't do the combine physical and everything like that. So I just think it's so much risk, and it's such force. Like I feel like we're forcing that pick if we pick quarterback first.
Right.
Not to say that nobody else is there, but if you pick a Joe Alt, I think that the rest of the league kind of respects that. Okay, you're going to get your guy later on. Even if you pick somebody in the second round, it's still somebody that's respectfully. At least we need to consider what these guys are trying to build because they have all of the other pieces. If we got because let's just say that we get a Daniel Jones quality quarterback with a very good team around Daniel Jones, he probably could have gotten to the playoffs maybe 2 more times out of his tenure so far. But because the talent at wide receiver has been really bad over there in New York, it's been so-so. Slayton has probably been like the consistent guy. I mean, Shepard, he's been like the consistent guy. But other than that, you don't really have no consistency over there at wide receiver. Running back is up in the air there because Saquon doesn't play for you the full season every year. So you got, and their defense has been good though. Their defense the last 2 years have been good. So I can't say nothing about them not having help on the defensive side. I still think that Daniel Jones with us, like you said, those free agents and stuff like that, even though I don't like him either, I still think would be a system quarterback. You'd have him do enough to not turn the ball over. You know what I'm saying? You run the ball because he can when things break down and he's used to running. But for passing the ball, we don't really need him to pass the ball if you needed to in certain situations. I don't want picking a quarterback in the second or third round because that's unless you can get a Bo Nix. And a Penix, I'm up in the air on. I don't like his release. I feel like he's going to be one of those guys that gets turnovers a lot too, especially those strip sack Jones. You know what I'm saying? Because of how he holds the ball and how he delivers the ball when he passes. You're going to get passes batted down at the line. And I'm starting to think that, again, maybe you guys are right, Big Son and Rowe, that maybe the quarterback class for next year isn't that bad to consider is a possible quarterback to look for your quarterback of the future. So, like you said, bro, I mean, Leo, if you do go Joe Milton or somebody, like you reaching with your quarterback, but see, all of that plays into me not. I don't agree with Rowe with Josh Harris tanking. Everything that we're talking about right now leads to tanking if you don't get this pick right. And if you pick Jaden Daniels, I believe you have to get the immediate RG3 success, meaning that he has to win Rookie of the Year. Meaning that he use his complete talents. Yeah. There's no way he doesn't win it because he can run as well as pass the ball. Yeah. And most of the other quarterbacks are just passing the ball. Cool. But you add the running into it, he should be Rookie of the Year. If you don't get that from him, you possibly have blown this pick.
Yeah.
So Vito, do you think it is a what the second half of that question, what receiver, because we already know Marvin Harrison and Malik would be gone, or possibly Rome too. So what other receiver out there could possibly add to that tandem if they were together? And if they were together, could they create magic like RG3 did or better?
So my notion, and I believe this is just my belief, and we'll see after this season. I think that this wide receiver class is going to go down in history, not for Hall of Famers. I'm not going to speak that out right now, but what I'll say is I don't think this class will go in record as the most starting wide receiver class. Like I believe all of these guys,
at least 10 of these guys in the first 2 to 3 rounds are going to be number 1 or number 2 receivers in the league,
Mm.
like after this season. You know what I'm saying? I think that this is
Yeah.
really that special size wise and athletically. If they can get in the right systems under the right quarterbacks, I think they can shine. So to answer your question, Troy Franklin would be one of those wide receivers. Adonai Mitchell would be one of those wide receivers. Um, I'm not sure about Brendan Rice yet, but I've given you guys the reason why I believe that just lineage. I think that just lineage and history says that that might be a good pick, but that's going to be one later. Right early, I don't think Worthy is going to be good unless he ends up with somebody like the Chiefs or something like that. Um, the Yak King, I think, is going to be exceptional in the league because that's Debo Samuels in a Calvin Johnson type of body. I don't know
Yeah.
if Shorty, but he literally drags people like Debo, and he's 6'3", like 235, bro. Like he should be playing tight end. Um, and the kid from Washington, Oduze, his teammate is coming out. Leo, I thought he was staying. His teammate is
Yeah.
coming. I'll find out his name in a second, but that kid is really, really good. He's really like Oduze is just a.
Hey, look, I got a sleeper person, and you should know this guy, man. You a Florida State guy, Johnny Wilson.
Johnny Wilson, I think, is going to be a starting slot guy. I don't think he's going to be the number 1 or number 2, but I do think
He
that
too
he is.
big to be a slot guy.
Huh?
Johnny Wilson, he's 6'6", bruh.
I
6'6",
Sims,
231. They got him
Sims, bro.
6'7" on some of the jumps.
Some of these guys are going to get turned into situational receivers like Sims. They not gonna be the every down guys, bro. I date size wise, yes. On Madden, I'm starting them, but it's not. It's not. I'm telling you, bro. After watching what they did to Sims here, because even once he left,
But,
he got he's getting done the same way, and I think that that kid is a phenomenal talent that doesn't get used the right way in the league.
but
Some of these offenses have those guys as situational receivers. And I don't think that he's going to reach that number 1, number 2, not
I
yet.
don't know, man. I mean, DK. When you look at a person like DK, right? Um, Now he's not as fast as DK. DK still 4'3", you know what I'm saying, type speed.
Exactly.
So I would say that he still is not at that space, but he ran like a 4'5". Could you use him like a Jimmy Graham? Is what I'm saying.
So that's what I'm saying. To me, if your development and your coordinators and your team is really saying, look, how do you take advantage in today's league? Tight
Yeah,
ends are exceptional, but if you can find a wide receiver that's big enough to be a tight end that can learn how to block and be physical in the depths of a running game, you create your own mismatch that nobody is going to be able to have an answer for. You
that's
know
what
what I'm
I'm
saying?
saying. That's why I
But
say with Johnny Mitchell. That's why I brought him up.
that takes a special coaching staff to be able to do that, bro. I don't think it's impossible, but that I believe the team already. To me, some of these things that I think we're reaching for, and I'm not disagreeing with y'all. I'm just saying that some of them I feel like are reaches in some way. But I think that they would be well. Excuse me, not will. They would be more likely to me to happen if the team had already had a season with the roster we have right now. If the roster we've done and everything we've done in free agency had one season and then we were in the draft, I think we'd have direction. What I wanted to add to what I sent y'all earlier was that this was my opposite side of thinking that if they're not together on this draft, meaning Peters and Harris, they not saying nothing about who we're going to draft because that's how drafts are supposed to go. If Peter wants to do this the right way, they'll probably pick or they'll pick Marvin Harrison Jr. because you're not supposed to let nobody know what you're drafting. Free agency, everybody know who's out there. So it don't once you give a meeting up, the people that's doing reports and all that on the league will let you know. But who you trying to draft is not supposed to be out there.
I know I sent that to y'all earlier. Like, if y'all think about who the number one picks and all that was, like, unless it's just somebody who's glaringly better than everybody else, like when Clowney was coming out of college, kid didn't even finish half of the games of the year. You knew he was going number one. You know what I'm saying? But the next guy up and the third guy and the fourth guy, those teams didn't tell you who they was picking, even if it was a glaring need. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's not what we don't want anybody to know, because our competition is going to pick that pick from us. You know what I'm saying? What Ro was talking about not wanting teams to pick certain players just to keep them from playing. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the NIL did with college, as far as like the
well, I also
let me ask y'all though.
Hold up. Before we go away from that,
I
want to add another factor into that. So after watching what you told me about yesterday, the Deion Sanders interview, you got players that say, I don't want to play for that team. And in the NFL, a lot of those players just say, I'm not going to work out for that team. NBA do the same thing. So
I think they're going to
factor these things in, because maybe a player is not just showing interest in the team, and maybe we would like to pick him, but he don't want to come play.
That could be a factor. That could be a factor where you feel like attitude wise, you're not gonna get. He's not gonna buy in because he don't want to be in that shit.
To me, I think that gives, and these players need to be careful. I'm gonna say this out loud. I'd like anybody to send this to anybody I know that plays football. Please be careful about speaking to a billionaire like you know something. All right, and I mean that with all due respect, but billionaires don't care about your feelings. And what's going to start happening is that y'all are going to start feeling like that, and y'all are the players that represent the league. That is absolutely true. But these billionaires are owners of the entire league. They're going to vote that you guys now start making minimum wage, NFL minimum. So let me say that. So first rounders will all make a certain amount of money. They'll now no longer get 15, 20 million in your signing bonus, because remember, it changed from guys getting 70, 80 million coming out of college to now they get 15 million as the first pick, 13 million for the second, 13 and a half for the second, 13 for the third, and then it dwindles down throughout the first pick for your first 3 years or your first 4 years. You know what I'm saying? You get a signing bonus depending on what that team want to give you. But now, what if they say, all right, you coming out of college, we're going to give you 5 million. 5 million.
I think we have Eli Manning to thank for all of this. We have Eli Manning to thank for all of this.
That's very true. That's very true. I do dislike that it wasn't drug in the dirt the same way that it was when our people of our color do that. And I'm not making it a race thing, but I am just pointing out that it was a thing when Eli Manning did it. His father, where they were asked about it and they were talked about in asking why you do something like this, or the nerve, but it wasn't drug out. And yes,
and believe you me, Vito, you don't have to make it a thing. It'll be a thing without even making it one.
It's been already. That's what I'm saying. It had his father,
which is the same.
Eli Manning was already dragging him. Yeah. And Deion Sanders said the same thing pretty much about his son. Like, oh, we don't mind pulling that type of a move because my sons are not playing for certain cities. That's what he said. He was on $1 million worth of game. Deion Sanders was on $1 million worth of game a couple of days ago, where he said, hey, Shador is not going to certain cities regardless. So we don't mind pulling the Eli.
But see, I don't like that. I really don't like the fact that people this is something that some people don't get a chance to do. And then you sit up here and have the authority, have the right. Oh, I don't want to go play. Well, don't play at all. Because you don't even have to be in the league. How about that?
Yeah, Eli.
You know what I'm saying?
Eli, I mean, but if Archie Manning,
I don't.
Okay with that.
Because people are at certain spots, somebody might have taken to get you, brother. And you talking about you don't want to play for them? Like, nah. No, sir.
If Archie Manning could do it, then I don't know. I mean, that's worth an argument. Archie Manning did it.
I think it's disrespectful to the league, period, bro.
Yeah.
Like one, first of all, if a team tanks on purpose, I do think that that player should feel some type of way about going to that
I agree
team.
with that too.
But at the same time, that also, how is that? First of all, you're a college player getting ready to go to a professional league. How is that also not necessarily an honor if that team is not necessarily a bad team, but they're trying to make sure that they find a way to get you? In some way, that team loves you that much as a player or what you've done already that they want to add you to their team. That's kind of an honor because this is not a league that everybody is promised. There are plenty of players that would do a lot to give up that position and that you have to be drafted. Number one. Number two, that team that is drafting you needs you. They're not picking you because they don't want their opposer to get them. They need you. So what if so as the Chargers we all do know don't have no rings since Eli Manning chose to go to the Giants, right?
Right.
How is a Chargers ownership do I not feel some type of way about the Giants because he has 2 rings?
Right. That's real.
I get what you're
Mhm.
saying. I respect everything that
That's
y'all
real.
saying, right? But let's be real. This is a business, and in this business, it's about leverage. Okay, and certain people got leverage.
You know how
Now,
funny this topic.
you brought up a very good counteract, right? Hey, since y'all want to pull this move, we gonna pull this move. Now, that's gonna be the effect of it. You get what I mean? Which is something that, guess what? You dug your grave now. You got to lie in it. But do I think that it's a bad thing? I mean, come on. These are parents trying to take the best interest of their child. Somebody like a Deion Sanders or Arch Manning, they have insight into the league. They have insight into what's going on. They have insight into a lot of the inner workings that a lot of people on the outside don't know. So
so
this
so
is
you know
still
you
my
know you know
child.
you know it's
Can
not a
can I just go back to Deshaun
So I
Watson?
think that if you got leverage, you use that leverage.
Can I just go back to Deshaun Watson? Everybody in America know that was a horrible team he was getting on. He's about to play for. But they was fixing that team up for the last couple years. You know what I'm saying? They was bad. But he went there with grace and honor and played for that bad team. It made them a staple before they got Shroud. Now,
I mean, I agree.
you
That's
see
the
what I'm
thing,
saying?
That's
You
always
got to
my thing.
take pride. You got to
Yeah.
take pride in the NFL. Even a team even take an interest in you, bro. Whether they bad or not, it's still the NFL.
Who was the Bulls before Jordan got him? Who was the 49ers before
Joe
Joe
Montana,
Montana went there?
right?
Who was so
Oh,
yeah. I
and
mean, who was the Chiefs before they got Patrick Mahomes? To be honest,
the 49ers was trash. The
yeah,
Chiefs was trash.
yeah, yeah.
They was
So
not
Well,
in their
I get
division.
what you're saying about the Chiefs, but they did what they had to do as an organization to trade up. You get what I mean? They talked to, and they knew, and Pat knew, and they all knew. They talked to these people. They told them they was interested, and guess what? Pat said, "Okay, cool, I'm with it. I'm with it."
Yeah, but you
You get
you
what I'm
you Pat,
saying?
you going to go play for the Chiefs, and Alex is already at the helm. What I'm saying about Texans, who was at the helm when he went? He already knew he was starting.
But this is what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. When you in that situation, it's about leverage. You know, going to the Texans. Okay, Houston. Look, man, I like Houston. Houston, a good city. Boom, let me go out Houston. Look, and as an organization, you got to sell your organization as well.
well,
You
let me
can't
say
just
this
be, you
to
can't
Leo's
just be
point.
like thinking like, all right, they just gonna want to come to your city. No, what's in your city? What's gonna make them come to your city? Are you gonna get certain endorsements in your city? That's why people want to go to New York. That's why people want to go to
But let me
Miami.
say this to
That's why
Leo's
people.
point though, and actually to both points. John Elway did the same thing. It worked out for him. Back in the day, he was actually drafted by the Colts. Little do anybody know. John Elway was drafted by the Colts, decided to go to the USFL and play a season in the USFL. It didn't work out. The league ended up crashing. It was Donald Trump's league. If anybody didn't know, that was Donald Trump's league. It ended up crashing or something. And he came back to the NFL, ended up getting drafted by the Broncos, signing with the Broncos. Now he was a free agent when he came back, ended up signing with the Broncos, and the rest is history, right? But Herschel Walker also was drafted by some other team, didn't went to the USFL, then end up going to the Cowboys, and of course being traded in the ransom trade. That's what we like to call it, the ransom trade with Minnesota. and he ended up basically building the dynasty that he wasn't a part of. So it didn't work out for him. So you risk a little bit of something. You could be that media that you get for pulling that move can be your downfall too. It doesn't always work out, because it didn't work out for Herschel Walker. It works out more often than not, but it is a time where it doesn't work out. Because you could be Herschel Walker. You don't always have to be Eli Manning.
That's true.
Yeah.
Or you could be Phillip Rivers.
Or you could be Phillip Rivers. Yep.
When you lose the opportunity to be a Super Bowl quarterback because another player decided that they didn't want to play it.
Yeah.
Who? I ain't even gonna start that
it.
conversation. We might be all
get
night.
that. Listen, I get that it's a slippery slope, but what I'm saying is that in every form of business, you got leverage, and when you got leverage of being the Manning, because you know Peyton's in the league doing well, and Arch is already what I think he won a Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken.
Archie Manning I think he was a Hall of Famer. Archie Manning did not win a Super Bowl. No, he didn't. He was on the Saints. The Saints were horrible. Then he went to another team after that, and I think San Francisco before Montana got there or something. He was bad. Cool. He was on bad teams his whole career. See, Archie Manning, he was bad.
Horrible before Montana.
Yeah, he was.
All
he
right,
was horrible.
Cool. Either which way, what I'm saying is that he had leverage. He had leverage as a parent. He had leverage as an ex-player. He had leverage with a star player and two of them, not just one. And he probably brokered that deal in Indianapolis too, and we just don't know about it.
No. Let's be clear about this. He didn't have the pool to pull that in Indianapolis. Originally, he was able to do that because of Peyton Manning. It wasn't because of him at all.
How do you know that?
Because we know that Archie Manning wasn't a good player. We wasn't even talking about Archie Manning when he came out. Peyton Manning is the reason that he was able to pull that, because of the success Peyton had and who Peyton was in the NFL by the time
he didn't want his little brother competing against him.
That was it.
Yeah.
There you go.
That was gonna mess up the family name that had him competing against him for playoffs and shit like that.
Yeah.
There you go. And so that was the NFL.
Eli out the playoffs.
Well, let me ask y'all. Going back to the subject at hand, let me ask y'all. If they get, let's say they get Daniels number 2, where do they draft the tackle, and who do they draft? If Daniels is the person at number 2, where do they?
You got Patrick Paul, like Leo was saying. Patrick Paul is very late though. You know what I'm saying?
So what round would you draft if you get Daniels? What round would you draft? Would you then draft a tackle?
Second.
The second pick.
So the first, second pick.
It depends on who's on the board, but yeah,
who would you pick with the first, second pick?
If you pick a quarterback, you gotta go tackle because you need somebody to protect them. That's just legitimately what most think. Especially if you don't got a line together, you gotta pick tackle. Like Trevor Lawrence trade. I mean the Trevor Lawrence draft. They picked. They picked the tackle right after.
So you would wait till 40th to get your receiver.
Yeah, because there's so many of them out there. I believe that you feel like you can find an immediate day one third string guy and work him and see if he can become a second string.
I disagree. I'm not sure you're gonna have
him. Hear me out. When we get to the wide receiver day, you'll see what we're talking about, bro. Like I've gone over a lot of, like Steve Smith doing it, but he helping me how I look at the prospects. Like, because I'm looking at the other prospects video myself and
I'll be watching them Jones too.
You know what I'm saying? He give you a real good breakdown on how to look at these guys, and that's why I said that this draft class has a chance. I won't put that juju on them right now, but they have a chance to be a very special group. Maybe that COVID year will dump so many of these guys on teams that, like I said, because they'll be young, because they'll be savers, they're going to replace some of these other guys. Michael Thomas just lost his job to Chris Olave, and Michael Thomas is a no-drop receiver. Does anybody remember he's had over 100 targets and dropped 0 passes?
I think he would have been good for
I think he got hurt.
To be honest. No, he was back last year. Oh, he had a great season last year, and I'll pull his numbers up just to let it be known. But I know because I picked him fantasy a couple times. I mean, I picked him on props a couple times, and he delivered nearly every single time. So he had a very good season last year. You know what I'm saying? And I'll pull his numbers up just to let it be known. But yes, he had he had a very good season last year. Michael Thomas, all right, well, maybe not a very good season. He had 39 catches, 448 yards, and 11.5 yard average. That's what he had.
He got hurt.
He got hurt. He probably
That's why I
did
said he
get
got
hurt.
hurt.
Okay.
Off, but that's what I'm saying. Like once Olave went
How many
off,
games did he play?
I'm about to put it up now.
5, 6,
Put
7.
it up now.
Yeah, I think that tackle though.
So y'all would
Mims.
wait. So y'all would pick.
No, me. I'm. If Mims is right there, I'm grabbing Mims.
That's what I said. But your second pick, you go tackle.
He did get hurt. He played 10 games. He only started 7 though, so he was playing while he was hurt. So he was
Yeah, I
playing
mean
while
that's
he was
like a half a season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he really only played 7 games though.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
said. That's like a half a season almost. You know, 8.5 games is a half a
I
season.
still would
You know?
take a chance on him because he's had seasons where he's had 100. His biggest season looking on his is 125 catches. 140 catches, sorry. In 2019, he had 140 catches.
His days are behind him, buddy.
Sorry, 149 catches, 1,700 yards.
He'll be your next Julio Jones.
I still take a chance on him
No,
though. That's just me.
So the thing is that with that is that you have to wait for him to go on the undrafted free agent jump. Like you gotta wait for all the way to June 1st so that he don't get the pay. So he don't get the pay that he would get right now. Like now, you have to pay him like $15 million.
Yeah.
Like that's too much money. Even though he can get you the production, I believe if he's healthy. But you also now, like I said, we have to be very careful of a few moves right now. You know what I'm saying? And not to switch the subject, but Terry McLaurin, you know what I'm saying, is the team's number 1 guy. And you have to also be careful. That's why I said that to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. is to draft the best person on the board. Right. Even though you threaten the McLaurin contract in some way, in some small way, you also probably make him the happiest person in the world because you're going to increase his production and numbers by so much because he no longer can get double coverage. Right. Nobody else you picked can take away that double coverage from McLaurin if you don't get Marvin Harrison Jr. in that pick, like unless you trade back to pick Neighbors. And I honestly don't think that once he goes up right now, Arizona Cardinals are set to pick him. There's nobody else that I've seen in the mock draft that has him anywhere different. Right. I understand how the number 2 pick in the number 2 player, in the entire draft is slipping to the 4th pick. I also don't understand why we're not trying to trade that pick to Arizona. If Arizona's trying to get Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm calling them on the phone and I'm telling them that New England has called me and said that they want Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm getting ready to trade it to them, but I'll move back to you because we dislike them. They beat us last year. We should have beat them, and we feel some type of way about that, or some bullshit, some bullshit, whatever it is. I'm moving back to 4. If you're going to skip out on Marvin Harrison Jr., and I either take Neighbors or I'm going with the tackle. Now, honestly, I'm gonna remix the whole NFL because, to be very, very honest, they probably should go top tackle first. Now that Leo is saying this, because if you don't hit it right now, that tackle 1 or 2 is probably going to be there the next 10 years. Right. You got to think
That's what
about.
I've been saying the whole time. That's the insurance policy.
It's very possible that you could be putting the likes of Trent Johnson. I mean Trent Williams right there. Not the same player, but just the likes of it. And if you can sew up your tackle for the next 7-8 years, like a Jonathan Allen at D tackle, you talking about longevity. Like think about if we had Sheriff. You know what I'm saying? We still had Trent Williams himself. He just brought the NFC.
Hey V, not to cut you off, but that's the same angle with Marvin Harrison. Because you kind of sew up that position for the next 3 years, 4 years, not 10.
Nah. Marvin Harrison covers the next 8 to 10 years. The reason being is because That's why I said if you pick Marvin Harrison, you threaten the McLaurin contract to either have to take a pay cut or not get so much money on the re-sign, because Marvin Harrison is no way you let him walk out the door once you get him. You
Yeah,
can't you don't let Randy Moss go until the contract becomes so much that it hurts the team.
yeah,
And that's
Yeah,
what
honestly, and that's the thing for me at least. If it was me running this draft, I personally would go Harrison Jr. And if I was just pressed for picks, then I would consider what you saying, maybe calling Arizona. Arizona might feel like we're not moving up, because if we don't get Harrison Jr., we just gonna get neighbors. We're not moving up regardless. So guess what? You're
not
young,
so
you know.
but to
And
me, it's
so
moving up because Arizona's going to need more. They need more pieces.
right.
That's a team that's almost rebuilding, or
Well,
basically
they have the capital though. They do have the draft capital to move up, because they have, I believe, 3 picks. They have 3 picks before we get our 3rd pick. They'll be making their 3rd pick. So they do have some capital there.
yeah, and they're moving up 2 picks, and we swap out one of the other picks, so we move closer into the second round or closer into the first, and closer into the second round. And like I said, you can partner that pick with what Leo was saying and try to move up a little bit further in the first round.
Yeah. But like you said, no, it's what you said. They are not moving up because they have holes, a lot of holes to fill.
They got a lot of holes.
They got a lot of holes to fill. So I don't see them moving up regardless. And being as though they won't move up, for me at least, I believe Marvin Harrison probably changes your franchise. Him and Terry McLaurin together gives you a whole new identity, and where you gotta respect the pass at this point. I don't care who the quarterback is. When you look across to see them 2 guys across from each other, across from whatever cornerback tandem you have, you know you're not going to be able to match up with them. You know this.
I
So
told y'all, even with Mariota, that still gonna look dangerous, even with Mariota.
And I only agree with Leo because you have to understand that Mariota is a Heisman winning quarterback. That's the same thing we're trying to bring in here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just don't think he got the arm strength to stretch the field to be able to use them guys effectively.
It's not about that. It's not about that, bro. It's about practicing with the #1 receiver in the country and having an advantage, like you said, offensively that you never had before. You're talking about.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, go ahead.
I'm not talking about beating a guy 40 yards downfield and being able to make the throw that outstretches the defense. I'm talking about being able to consistently make the jump ball throw that this guy can make that you weren't able to get before. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like Calvin Johnson could have played with anybody. Mike Evans has done it with a number of quarterbacks.
I think Calvin Johnson benefited from having Matthew Stafford there. You see what I'm saying? As we see, he's repeated this with Cooper Kupp. He repeated it again with Nakua this year. So he's repeated that because
not the same type.
They had the numbers though. The numbers not too far off though. The numbers are not too far off.
That goes to show that Matt Stafford is a baller. And I did say that when he went there. Remember, I said when he's a free agent, I thought we should. But that just means that he's a baller. But what I'm saying is that he was able to high target a lot of those throws to Calvin Johnson, which just added to his replica of being able to throw passes. A lot of those passes to Calvin Johnson was everything else is missing. This is the emergency breakdown. I'm about to throw to my man. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But you know why he could do that? Because at the end of the day, it's too easy to play defense with a quarterback who don't have the big arm. Because now I only got 20 yards to defend, if that makes any sense. Whereas though if I got a quarterback who got this big arm, I got to back up a little bit. I can't just come in, put my hands on the receivers. I just can't come play up. I got to respect these receivers a little bit because I know this quarterback can throw it over top of my head. Once I know he ain't got nothing coming with that, you know what? I'm going to vamp down on Terry a little bit, play a little bit more aggressive on Terry. I'm going to play a little bit more aggressive.
If I draft Marvin Harrison, I am more than likely, just from what I see, if Bo Nix or none of them are there, I'm going to take my chance with like a person like Joe Milton.
Now is where I would take a Milton over.
Because Joe Milton, because at least with Joe Milton, I at least got somebody that if all else fails, we can Aaron Rodgers, Hail Mary. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But that's why
Patrick Mahomes early.
I'm okay with Mariota starting the season if you get a Milton, because you're gonna have to get Milton to get those reads, those, you know what I'm saying, shorter passes, shit like that.
Yeah,
And he's such a big body quarterback. You're gonna have to see what you can get from running the ball.
he
So
can
I
run.
agree with that.
running,
I agree
I've
with that
seen,
too.
yeah. No, that is part of his game as well. I did watch some film on him, and he can run. He's not the fastest guy or nothing like that. I wouldn't say that he's a super threat runner, but he can run, and it's good enough to be. It's Sam. I'm not gonna say he's as good as Sam Howell, but it's Sam Howell good, where you can definitely use his legs if you need to.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If it
Um,
was go ahead, Big Son.
I wanted to add when we were talking about the wide receiver that you would get if you would go uh if you would go Joe Alt or another tackle and not go Marvin Harrison Jr. We haven't said much about the guy, but I really like Troy Franklin out of Oregon.
Yeah, I like
He's
Troy.
40th on the big board, 6'3". He had a heck of a season last year. Just to run through his numbers real quick, pull these things up. Hold on, give me 1 second. And he's a big frame, 6'3". He ran a 4.41. Um, let's look at his stats real quick. Homeboy had, let's see. All right, here we go. Yeah, 81 receptions, 1,383 yards, and 14 touchdowns, average 17.1.
Uh, uh,
And not to mention, every year since he's been in college, his production is up. He only had 18 receptions his first year, 209, two TDs the second year, 61 receptions, 891 yards, 9 touchdowns, 14.6 average. And last year, 81 receptions, 1,300 plus yards, 17.1 average, 14 touchdowns, and 84 was his longest ball, 84 yards.
so you think that he would be suffice? I'm gonna be honest with you. What I feel, I think that to me, with what we have right now at receiver, right? I think it's essential that you get one of them top three guys. I'm not comfortable without one of them top. Now, again, I
I
know
don't
I
y'all
know,
am.
man.
say
I
some.
don't know.
I
I
know
I
think
y'all.
it's
am.
Hold
His,
up.
his
I know y'all
numbers.
say some gems there. I get you.
it is.
I
It is.
personally think that you need a plug and play guy right now
But he
because
is a
That
plug and play
is.
guy. Look at his stats.
right.
He not even
My
he not
opinion,
even
my
top three. And look at his stats. He's over 1,300
my
yards.
I
opinion,
get
my
you.
opinion.
I get
I
you.
know people probably wouldn't want to get him because he is not one of the taller receivers. But man, Malachi Corley, man, Yak God, man. I'm just gonna say it. Shorty's a beast. He only
you
5'11".
look
He
to me, if you
210.
look at replacing Curtis Samuels, you might do a real good job in that aspect right there. I
You
don't
hear
think they
me?
receiver, but in those same situations, you are probably going to get more production because he like
Yeah,
all the cornerbacks are not going to be able to tackle this guy, bro.
at all.
Right.
At all.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So like we do got
But
options, you know
okay,
what
so Will, how long will it take for him? Now you got a basically you got a rookie quarterback. As if you could, I mean, if you talk about the scenario, that means you went rookie quarterback on your second pick. So you got a
Mm-hmm.
rookie quarterback and potentially a rookie receiver combination that's going on here. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
And that's my only. I ain't gonna say a fear,
That's
because I could do.
going on
But
mostly everywhere in the league, though.
right, no.
I'm
I'm
saying?
not disputing that. This is why I wanted one of the top end guys, is what I'm saying, because not more than likely, regardless of which way you go, if they don't go rookie on rookie, as far as receiver quarterback, I think they're gonna have a problem, no matter who they bring in. I think that this receiver core is in the red area to me. You know what I'm
Your
saying?
man, your man averaged 8.5 yards after the catch, bro. There's
Right,
a lot of talent, bro. That's
right,
crazy. After
right,
the catch,
right.
averaging 8.5 yards.
And how much more was that over everybody else?
I'm not looking at everybody's stats right now. I can tell you.
Right.
It's a good amount over the next wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, but Curtis Samuel last year had 62 catches, 613 yards last year, 4 touchdowns. The year before that, he had 64 catches, 656 yards. So you losing 650 yards virtually and 60 something catches.
And that's why I said that I feel like they would go with quarterback first, because you're not even getting the production out of your receiver. You need somebody to get the ball to the receivers for them to have production. And
I
right now,
agree.
really seen anybody get the ball to everybody on a consistent basis. When we had Carson Wentz, he seemed to find everybody except for our players and Dotson a few times. When we had Heineke in the game, he overly found McLaurin, which was a great thing, but sometimes some of the other players would suffer from that.
I like Heineke how he spread the ball though, because Doxson had like 8 touchdowns, so he went to Doxson when he needed to. Honestly, so I'm with you.
Most of the Dotson touchdowns came from Wentz early in the year. I think he had 3 or 4 from Wentz before Heineke got to play. So that's what I'm saying. That was his rookie year. He was on par to have a really good season if he didn't get hurt early in the year, in my opinion. And I wholeheartedly feel like that. If Heineke played that entire season, we go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think that he was a far better passer than the announcers gave him credit for. I think that passes that were incomplete were the same as any professional quarterback just throwing the ball away. He tried to give our receivers an opportunity. And if you go back to that season when he started, not when he started, but when he did start the Wentz year, even the year before that, our receivers had a chance when Heineke was throwing the ball. He wasn't just throwing the ball directly to them and only to them. He would give them an opportunity to make a play. And that's why I think McLaurin loved him, because McLaurin is a big-time receiver when given the opportunity. I just think he's had a really crappy set of chances the last couple of years. That's why I really feel like that locker room, the wide receiver room needs some youth. And it, like, don't get me wrong, Dotson is a really good receiver. If anybody knows, me and Big Son was heavy on Dotson, especially the way that he balls out in big games. But if you can't find a quarterback to get him the ball, you just got a person for no reason. De'Ami Brown has some special talents. If anybody, he's what was his name? Ro. The what was it? The spin cycle or the flashy. It was something. He had a nickname in college too, but he was a spectacular talent coming out of college. Unfortunately, even with his own quarterback, he wasn't. He just hadn't been able to get it done. And
Dotson actually last year he had 50 catches, 500 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah. That's okay. That's not second receiver numbers.
No, he only had 100-yard receiving game though. That was against Philly, the first game.
That's okay.
No, second game. Yeah. That's not first round pick. No, that's not first round pick worthy. No.
What I'm saying is that that's basically 2 receivers to equal what you would love for your number. First, what you would love for your number 2 quarterback. What you would love for your number 2 receiver to have.
Right.
If you would love for your number 2 receiver to have 1,100 yards, and your first have over 1,000, maybe 1,400 yards on a season. But
that's third receiver numbers.
Your quarterback's supposed to have what you want your quarterback to have. Today's football game, you want him to have about at least 38 if you're going to run the ball or some, or if you're a heavy running team, at least 38. If you're not a heavy running team, at least 42 to 4,500 yards. You know what I'm saying, for a quarterback. So if you only got 1,000-yard receiver, where the fuck the rest of the yards coming from? Pardon my French, but where's the rest of the coming from?
Yeah.
And that's why I agree with Ro that we need. You need one of those guys that is going to increase that room. That he's going to increase the quarterback and he's going to increase the wide receiver room so that the other guys get the ball. Like he's got to be a problem that you take the double team away from McLaurin and you allow Dotson to run free on those on those underneath routes, and you still got Crowder that can mentor Dotson and what he needs to do, or De'Ami Brown. And I think that because if not, what's going to happen is those late rounds, like 6 and 7, you probably gonna get an extra wide receiver there, or they're gonna bring in wide receivers in the undrafted free agency jump because that's as you're gonna really need them. And I don't want to end up with Tinsley's and the Milnes on my team, bro. I really don't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for those
And
two guys, but I really don't think y'all should be practice squad guys. Y'all should not be in the NFL on my starting team on Sunday.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I just think that they need something else, especially losing Samuels, because as you see, you know, it's not like you're getting a lot out of Doxson right now, and so you lose Samuels. I mean, and they haven't replaced them too. You get what I'm saying now too. That's
But
why
I
you
mean, you
gotta
only
do
get
something in this
out of
draft.
Dotson what you put into him. You got to remember Dotson was a number one receiver.
Yeah,
So if you're
83
not
targets
feeding him
last
like
year.
that,
Yeah,
if you're not
83
feeding
targets
him
last
like
year.
that, he's not gonna, huh?
Yeah, 83 targets last year.
Yeah, that's a feed. That's a lot. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
it might be a feed, but is it a good feed?
I
Is he
mean,
throwing it in double coverage? Is he throwing it behind the man? Is it, you know what I'm saying? You got to look at all of that
I,
in them 83 passes.
I
Have
can
him get that
respect that, but 83
like
passes.
that man dropped a lot of passes last year.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked uninterested in the first half of the season. You can hear me on the show talking about. I remember that man dropped a few passes last year. He'd look at his hand. He wouldn't even look at his hands like that. Like no, my bad. He'd look at his hands like, damn, I dropped it, and then just going about his business like it wasn't a big deal. These are third
But
down on top of that could have got his first downs that he dropped several
but if
games.
you remember me and you had this debate. But if you remember, they they wasn't involving him in the game until they decided, oh, okay, this ain't much of a game. Let's involve him.
No,
They
no.
wasn't involving him in the game to get him warmed up as a first. Remember, we had the debate like a number one receiver has to get in rhythm. They took no time to get him in rhythm the whole season. They was just like, oh, he's here along for the ride. You can't do that with a guy like him.
No.
He got
So
to get in rhythm.
here's where my debate turns into cold hard facts. Guess what? You know who got to get in rhythm? Your quarterback. Your wide receiver don't got to get in rhythm. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because McLaurin faces double coverage majority every week. He got to get in rhythm by running routes that he know he not going to get the ball. That's not getting in rhythm when you're not getting past the ball. And that man still finds a way to come up with the catch when we need to a lot of the times. Sometimes he even get frustrated because he's not getting fed. But again, we got to throw in a double coverage to get to him because our number 2 and our number 3 are not getting open. It's not that Sam was just holding. He was holding the ball because niggas was not getting open. You can't be a number 1 receiver and can't get open against the third cornerback.
I would beg to differ for that. Sam held the ball a lot. A lot of times guys are open. Sam was holding the ball, not getting right reads on the field. And like I'm about to look up his drops right now because we say he had a lot of drops, but did he have a lot of drops? You can say one thing, but actually having them is another. You know,
I mean, it's some
let's see.
drops. I mean, they got a YouTube clip of his drops. I mean, YouTube highlight reel of his drops. You know, I'm trying to find the amount of drops he had.
That's what I'm trying to find too.
But
And
yeah,
I'm not trying to defend the man. I'm just saying, you know, we can spread it across the board evenly. You know, like they were. I mean, he got 83 targets. How many? If he got 83, how many did McLaurin have?
his drop rate is 10%. So every 10 passes, he got a drop.
That's a lot.
You know, that is a bit much. For me, at least in my opinion, that's a bit much.
He had 6 drops his first season. He had 5 drops last year. He had 49.
That's why, because he had 4 or 5 drops, 50 catches.
But
That makes sense.
that's what I'm saying. That's not bad from last season, though,
He had 83 targets, Big Son. He had 49 catches.
bro. But what I'm saying is, how many times he only dropped 5 of them, so he had to be overthrown something. He only dropped 5 of them. That's what I'm saying. It can't all be him. We did watch Sam overthrow people. We did watch Sam hold the ball.
But
He
this is
was
why,
targeted 83 times, but he only dropped it 5 times. So what does
His,
that
right?
tell you?
his first game that we felt he was productive. I mean, his first year we felt he was productive. He had 35 catches, 523. He averaged 15 yards a catch. He was only getting 43 yards a game. He had 7 touchdowns at the end of the year. The touchdowns helped. This
Yeah.
year, Even if you say Sam played bad, now mind you, the first year he only played 12 games. He only started 10 of them. All right,
Yeah.
Jeez. All right, and then I'm hop on right after that. He only played 12 games, so he played 5 more games. Yeah, he played 5 more games and started 6 more games, and he had only 14 more catches, and he had 7 less yards. He had
And
5 yards
mhm.
average that he was less in receiving production, and he was 13 yards less every game and only had 4 touchdowns. Regardless,
And but
again,
why though? We remember why McLaurin was gone, so he was able to touch the ball more. McLaurin was gone during that time in that stretch.
was
When? When was this?
22.
When was McLaurin hurt?
No, McLaurin played. He played. He just in the beginning of this season he had a
No,
toe
not this
injury.
season. Not this season.
No.
Last year he wasn't hurt to my
I mean, not
understanding.
him. Her. Was it Curtis? I think Curtis was hurt at the beginning.
No,
No,
Curtis
it
was hurt in
wasn't stress. It wasn't
2021.
stress when McLaurin
Curtis,
didn't play.
McLaurin played every game of 2022.
yeah, the beginning of last season he had a toe injury and he played still, but he really couldn't do a lot.
Yeah, he played every game.
Yeah.
2 catches the first game, 2 the second game, 4, 8, 9, 6, 6, 4, 8, 8, 9, 11, 7, 6, 12, 6, 5, 4, 6. That's
Correct me. That
going
had to be
nine.
Curtis. Had to be
Yeah,
Curtis J.
Curtis played 2021 was the worst season he was left. He wasn't in a lot. He only had like 5 catches that year. He came, played like one game or something, and then he sat it back out.
Hey, Mouse.
So
That's
that's my
2022 season, right?
yeah, that was the 2021, actually, 2021 season. The season,
Mhm.
the COVID season, where all that COVID stuff was going on. The COVID season.
Trying to-
They were sitting players and stuff like that. But that's my thing with this. If you go Jaden Daniels #1, I believe you just strip your team the ability of getting the receiver they need in order to make the most out of the Josh Doxson pick. Let me ask y'all this. Doxson's contract should be coming up soon. Do you re-sign him? Or do you let him hit the market and see what he can get?
I mean, he not gonna cost much, so you probably could resign him.
I mean, Johan Doxson. I say Josh. Johan Doxson.
I mean, he not going to demand much on the market, so I mean, you can probably resign him. But I mean, if this is a make or break year for him, for real.
He would
Mm.
cost you $4 million in dead cap money this year.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, if this is make or break year.
Yeah, but I just think you could get something. I think he's amazing at that. When he has the right receivers next to him, he got 2 seasons on his deal, so he signed all the way up until 2027. In 2027, he would be an unrestricted free agent. So this is 2025. Yeah, so he has next year would be his lame duck year, I guess. So because after next year, if you don't sign him next year, he has this season and next year to get it done. 2 seasons.
Who you
If
talking
you
about?
don't, Johan Doxson. Because if you don't sign him next year, that summer he would be a free agent, unrestricted free agent.
You got him until 2027.
Yeah.
So you honestly don't really need that breakout production until the year after next. Like if he's a 500 to 600 receiving yard guy this year, you're not. Let's say the guy that you pick in the draft can get you the same amount of production as Curtis Samuels, or let's say he gets you 700 to 800 yards, and you get McLaurin to do his thing. You don't have that much money that you got to spend with Doxson, and you should have your rookie locked up for even longer than him.
I would like to see our offense produce 2,000-yard receivers, to be honest with you. I would like to see that, because at the end of the day, y'all, you have McLaurin, who is a 3rd rounder, and he's giving you everything. So at the end of the day, if you could get If you spent a
No,
first
they put
round
this
pick
joint on
on
here.
Doxson, you at least got to hit on 1,000-yard receiver with him. The 1,000 yard,
They're
you
like,
know,
you
in the
got the
season
tight
with him.
end.
You got to hit on that at least one time. You got to hit on that at least one time. That's only right because you spent a first round pick on him.
If you get double digit touchdowns from him in a high single 100-yard year, I think that's good too.
Right.
And because you only have Zach Ertz at the moment right now, I feel like your wide receiver group has to give you some more, some more. You know what I'm saying? Some more production.
Yeah. So that's what I say. So when you look at the offensive line, you really wouldn't be picking an offensive lineman until that 40th pick. Essentially, to me, them first two picks should go to receiver and to quarterback. I think it should go receiver first, quarterback second. That's just my opinion. I think you'll get the more value out of those picks if you went receiver first, quarterback second.
And I also want to give a shout out to Malik Neighbors because I personally feel like nobody believes me, but I think the kid may actually have a better career than Marvin Harrison Jr.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. It's possible.
If the Commanders wouldn't mind taking that pick as well, I wouldn't be mad because I honestly think you could move back maybe 3 or 4 spots. Like especially if you
That's what I would do. I would drop back 3 or 4 spots, take him, and still get my quarterback and tackle.
So you think Jaden Daniels will still be on the board if you move back? And let's say you move back.
No. I mean, the first you could probably move back, and it's risky because I've tried it a couple times. He might be there.
If you got neighbors,
trade back with the Falcons.
Let's say you swap with Arizona. Let's say you swap with Arizona and you get neighbors at 4, right? And let's say you are moving back to their second pick, which is, I believe, is like
who the Bears?
The Cardinals. The Cardinals. Let's say you swap with their second first rounder. Could you get or their first or their second pick in the first was like 2 or something like that? Could you get neighbors there? I mean, do you see Daniels fall?
No, Malik Neighbors gonna be gone with
not neighbors. No, let's say if the first pick is neighbors, where is the minimum pick you have to get to in order to get Daniels?
Daniels ain't gonna last out of the first 10 picks, bro.
You think so?
I don't know about that, guys.
He's ranked 22 overall.
I'll say
it's very possible that Daniels could fall if we don't pick him. You have to understand that when another team skips over a prospect that they know that they need, is not again. And I think that, like you said, I think that teams will try to pick the quarterback and all of that, but I don't know because him and Caleb Williams are only doing pro days for certain teams. Everybody doesn't get a chance to evaluate them.
Right.
Yeah, Arizona.
What I'm telling you is that
Arizona second pick is all the way down to 27. I don't think he drops that far.
Yeah. So let's say you swap with them. Let's say you swap the first one and you swap the second one.
You got to remember the Raiders. I don't know.
Jaden Daniels would not last out of the first 11 picks. I don't even think he's gonna last there. But at bare minimum, if he gets to Minnesota, they're gonna draft him.
You think so?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Minnesota like JJ McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy gonna be gone off the board fast too.
Even if not, Denver would take him.
Yeah.
They just got rid of Russell. They would take him.
Yeah, it's a couple teams that'll take him.
Let's see who's picking quarterbacks. Because let's say if we didn't pick him, we picked Daniels. That means you put a quarterback on the board. Because we didn't pick him. Let's say we pick not Daniels.
If we didn't pick him, New England would pick him. To be honest.
Who?
New England
might pick him too. Yep.
I don't know about that.
New England not gonna pick Daniels. They hated Cam Newton.
I don't know about that.
They might pick JJ.
I don't know. They might pick him though. Cam more strong headed than Daniels.
Okay, so they still got Mac Jones. Mac Jones is still under contract with the Patriots.
They got Mac Jones and Zappy. I was still going on.
Zappy, who they picked last year. Zappy played well.
Mac Jones.
Oh, they traded Mac Jones.
Yeah, they traded Mac Jones. That's why I said they would get They would get him.
Okay, so
They
you got
getting.
the
I think they
Patriots.
getting McCarthy.
The Patriots are getting Drake May.
Oh yeah, my bad.
Right.
Drake May. That's what I was talking about the
You
whole
got
time.
the Patriots. You got the Jets, who might pick a
I
quarterback.
keep
The
calling him
Jets,
McCarthy.
they not picking a quarterback. They about to get a receiver.
If I
I
was a
think they
Patriots
picking a
fan
quarterback. Oh, they
and
got
they
Aaron
draft
Rodgers.
Drake
Sorry,
May,
they do got Aaron Rodgers. He come back, so that the Jets wouldn't pick a quarterback. You right. Aaron
no,
Rodgers
that's why
come
I didn't
back.
They
say the Jets.
got the Jets.
Jets definitely picking a
If
quarterback.
I am the Patriots fan and they draft Drake May, I'm going to go find the general manager and beat his ass. Last 3 years, my nigga, you cannot get it right. What is the problem?
It's a different coaching
You
staff.
got Mac Jones, you got Zappy, and then you're gonna bring him. 3 can't get rights. I would beat his ass, literally, if I was a fan.
They got
Well,
a
you
different.
got Tennessee, who might pick a quarterback, which I don't think so. They might go with the guy they got.
They got 3 of
I don't think they might have that much faith in Levis. They might pick a quarterback.
them. They still got the black guy too.
Or Malik Willis.
Yeah.
Yeah, Willis.
Okay. Then you have Atlanta.
Atlanta got Kirk.
They got Kirk Cousins, so they wouldn't pick a quarterback either. Then you go down to Minnesota.
They picking
and
the
Denver,
quarterback too,
Vegas.
but not early.
Minnesota, Denver, Vegas. And then
I think Vegas will pick him if they had a chance.
after that, you kind of clean because you got Jacksonville coming up. They not picking one. Seattle, they just traded for Sam Howell. They not getting one. The Colts not getting one. Saints, maybe. I doubt that.
Saints might.
Saints, maybe. So right now, what you looking at? You looking at Tennessee. You looking at Minnesota, and you looking at Denver. That's the 3 off the board right there, maybe.
He's not picking a quarterback.
And New England.
They don't have Derrick Henry.
And Tennessee is a possibility of not picking a quarterback.
They lost Derrick Henry. Ain't no way.
Right.
And they need receivers for Levis to throw to. They might pick Brock Bowers.
Well, and you know what? Will Levis was the 33 overall pick last year. That was a pretty high pick to just go away from.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the Titans might grab Neighbors if he's there.
They looking at Brock Bowers.
Let me look at Will Levis numbers. Let's see.
They're looking at
That was an interesting one right there.
The Titans looking at a tackle too.
Right. They could definitely use a tackle. And people say, Tennessee Titans may have set up Will Levis for greatness in year 2 or make a huge mistake. So they might be talking about, it seems like they're talking about giving Levis another shot. Let's see what his numbers was last year. Will Levis, 1,800 yards, 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He had decent numbers. QBR rating wasn't that good, 33.2. He had a 59.4 passer rating. When you look at his game log, he had a 300-yard game against the Dolphins, which they won. He had a 224 against the Colts. Then he had against the Panthers, he had 185 against the Panthers, which they won. So right now he was 2-3 as a quarterback last year in 5 games. So they could be going Will Levis. Okay, that's not a foregone thing. Okay, Tennessee's not a foregone thing. You can't say that Tennessee's picking a so let's say you scratch Tennessee off the board. Now you're looking at basically Minnesota, Denver, and Vegas. Right there, 11, 12, and 13. Could you move to 10 with the Jets? Could you swap out with the Jets to move to 10? Then you got Chicago. Sorry, Chicago might pick one.
Jets probably gonna
Right.
get an offensive lineman.
So let's say Chicago picks Caleb Williams. Now you got Daniels, May, J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix, and Penix all left.
If I were the Jets, I would grab him only because he has a great leader in front of him to show him how to be a quarterback.
That's
and
not
not
gonna
kill
happen.
himself. I'm just saying it might not happen, but if I were the Jets, that's what I would do.
He gonna
I would let
treat
him sit
him. He
behind a
gonna get
They,
treated
leader.
just like Brett Favre treated him.
Oh well, but he great though, ain't he?
I think if they do get one, it's gonna be the later rounds. They don't want Aaron Rodgers to, like, let's say Aaron Rodgers come out not playing so well, and then now all of a sudden everybody like, you got a number one pick overall, put him in.
This is A-Rod though. That number one pick gonna learn how to play ball. This is A-Rod we talking about. Just like when Brett Favre was in front of him. This is
But
Brett
I'm gonna
Favre we
tell
talking
you
about. He
what
didn't
might
start
scare
until
them
Brett
out of
Favre left.
Zach Wilson might scare them out of that.
Exactly.
Because if they pick him, he better be right, because somebody gonna get fired this time. So I don't think they got him doing it. You pick a late round, you kind of it serves as some cushion for you as a GM if you do pick late round.
When was the last time we know the Jets for offense?
Who knows? It's been a long
Yeah,
time.
let's think about it. It's been a long time. I don't think
However,
they've
they
been nothing
just
since
picked Zach Wilson third
since
overall.
Keyshawn. Since
Right,
Keyshawn, right?
right.
Yeah,
But they
okay.
just picked Zach Wilson third overall.
But
They
you
just
wouldn't be
picked Zach
picking what's the
Wilson.
name third overall.
You be picking him a 10th. That's a top 10 pick still. I don't think they do that again. That's just my opinion. I don't really
It's
think they do
that would be a better pick than Wilson was in my eyes.
that. Daniels?
Yeah, he would be a lot better pick than Wilson.
I don't know. If he
Oh,
get
I
hurt, he's
know.
not. If he get hurt, then you get the
I
same thing
mean,
out of him. Nothing.
Wilson wasn't that much bigger than him.
Wilson was terrible. Wilson is a terrible quarterback.
But what I'm saying, Wilson ain't that much bigger than him, and like you say, Wilson is a terrible quarterback. I don't think Jay Daniels is a terrible quarterback.
No,
I
I
just
don't
think he
think
don't
Jay
got a lot of
Daniels.
weight on his.
If he get hurt, then essentially you get nothing out of him the same way you got nothing. I just don't think they would take that risk, in my opinion. Even if they were going to pick a quarterback, I don't think it would be Jaden Daniels because of the high risk factor. And because he's not going to run the same stuff Aaron Rodgers is running effectively. They do got similar release, but Daniels can do a little bit more than what Aaron Rodgers can do with his legs. So you would have to formulate a offense around Daniels, that a whole new offense. Let's say Aaron Rodgers get hurt. Now Daniels is not going to be running what Aaron Rodgers is running. You would have to essentially install a whole new offense for
I
Daniels
mean,
if he was to get hurt. You know what I'm saying? So that's why
but
I
they
said
still got
maybe not.
Wilson there though, right?
They still got Wilson, yeah. Wilson could do a little bit of what the same stuff Aaron Rodgers could do.
That's what I'm saying. You could develop Wilson name.
I agree.
Don't let him kill himself. Don't let him RG3 himself. You know what I'm saying?
You think they're gonna have
But
Wilson
but to
and
get a
Rodgers on
talent, but to get
and
a talent
Daniels?
like him, you're not gonna be leaving them on the bench too long. I don't imagine.
So what, you about to take all that dead money? He was a top 3 pick. You're gonna have to eat about 10 million minimum dead money if you let Wilson go.
That's too
I
much money.
mean, hey,
That's
you had to eat. Did they let Cook go?
Who? Dalvin Cook?
Dalvin.
See. He was only a 1-year sign. See, Wilson is under contract for 4 years, $35 million. You're not eating that. He won't be a free agent. 2026. Yeah. Next year he'll be a free agent.
No, he only got 1 year, 8.5 million.
Right. No, he's under contract till 2026.
No, but that's his old contract.
No, that's the
But his
contract I'm
new
looking at
contract
right
with the
now.
Steelers is only
The
supposed to be
cap
1
hit would
year,
be
8.5.
no. The cap hit in
Who got a
2025
contract with the
for
Steelers?
Zach Wilson.
Leo.
No.
You talking about Wilson, right?
The cap hit with Zach Wilson, I'm looking at it
Oh, you
right
talking
now
about
for
Zach Wilson, my bad.
2025. Yeah, the cap hit for Zach Wilson in 2025 will be $22 million in dead money if they was to let him go.
They need more help than that. Quarterback is not where they need help at, bro. I'm telling you. Don't get me wrong. If Aaron Rodgers not playing, they do need somebody else there. But they not about to sacrifice that for Jaden Daniels at that pick for somebody that might.
They gotta keep Wilson. Yeah,
Let's say
that
if
ain't
Aaron
gonna
Rodgers
happen.
healthy the whole year, they're gonna be eating so much money at the quarterback spot. That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, that's not happening. You can scratch them off. They not eating 35. Like I said, 35 million they had to eat. 11 million this year, and then 20 something next year. 22, which it plus whatever little extra, it'd end up around $35 million cap hit if they was to let him go this year and pick up Jane Daniels. That ain't how you can scratch them off. They ain't getting no quarterback. Not in the first. I don't see him getting a quarterback at all. Seeing that. Maybe something like a 6th rounder or something that you could put on your practice squad just in case Aaron Rodgers, tear the other Achilles or something. Like what's the name did with Brock Purdy? Maybe some situation like that you might can look at and say, okay, they don't want to be stuck with Wilson, so they got somebody. But that'll be late. That'll be some later round stuff, so they don't have to pay out a lot of money. So the Jets is off the board, not seeing their situation. So you got
how many teams is that we're looking at that's getting quarterbacks? 4 or 5?
4 right now. That's the Bears.
Nah, the Bears. You take Caleb off the list.
Okay, take Caleb off the list. They go to the Bears. Boom. Now
New England, Drake May.
New England.
No, not even say which team. Just like New England. All right, New England one team.
You got New England. You have the Minnesota. Denver and Vegas.
Raiders.
4. That's 4 other teams. So 4 other teams need quarterbacks. Like you see, got Daniels, May, McCarthy, Knicks.
You see, you're gonna either end up with Penix or Knicks by the time your second draft roll around, your second pick.
That's why I'm going down the middle.
Well, you could, but the Giants said that they not on the table with quarterback because I don't think that they satisfied with that Daniel Jones contract.
But how much money they gonna eat? Let's look at this contract.
Daniel Jones contract, he only got $140 million. I mean, it's not only, but it's only $140 million. It's probably like 20 something a year, maybe 30. But picking a rookie doesn't take them out of conversation with that because you got to remember they're saving money without having that Saquon Barkley jump.
They would eat. The cap hit wouldn't be that much though. The cap hit will be for Daniel Jones next year. It'll be most of it. Oh no, it'll be a $58 million cap hit. If they was to let him go. $58 million. No, sorry, dead cap would be $11 million. If they eat $11 million. If they continue with him, it'll be a $58 million cap hit. If they let him go, it'll be $11 million in dead money.
It sounds like they drafting Jane Daniels.
No, it's just if you pick somebody, you got the option of letting Daniel Jones go. If he has an exceptional year, you can say, all right, we got the $58 million to eat, and we got a quarterback that we could probably.
Yeah, I seen a lot of draft boards where they pick JJ McCarthy, or if Drake May failed, then they pick Drake May.
No, sorry, 2025. That's this year. It'll be a $22 million cap hit. In 2026, it'll be 11. So 2025 is this year. It'll be. They didn't release them this year because the dead money would have been $69 million this year. Next year is $22 million.
They not
dead
gonna
money
release
this year
either.
Yeah, $22 million would be the dead cap money.
They gonna wait till that dead cap get down
2025.
under 10.
It's 11 in 2026.
So he gonna be there in 2027.
So y'all think they'll go quarterback at 4?
Yeah. They looking at a receiver too though. So Neighbors might go there.
They just let Saquon Barkley go. What are they gonna do?
They picked up what's the name? Shorty, I think he's from the Texans. They picked up what's his name?
Ford?
Nah.
Let's look at it and see.
He ain't Saquon, but he all right.
I don't know. I think they go. If you ask me, I mean, they could go quarterback. I'm not.
Devin Singletary.
Devin Singletary's good. He's good. But I still think, if you ask me, I mean, with the Giants, man, they really need some offensive linemen.
They just got those 2 tackles, so it'll be maybe a center and a guard. But I don't think centers is gonna be like a top pick for a lot of teams. So maybe Cowboys.
Let me see who they signed in this off season. They're interesting.
Who?
The Giants. They're interesting as far as a quarterback.
It might go with Romo Duzier, or Romo Dunze, or Neighbors. I really don't like Neighbors going there, but knowing the Giants, I could really see that as a fit for what they've done before. But Rome gives them size that they haven't had in a while.
Right.
If they look at quarterback, I think that they're looking at what I was saying is the fact that maybe it's just such a deep draft and wide receiver that you look at Shepard as your number 1 and worry about trying to mold the number 2 instead of trying to find a number 1 guy. But the Rome pick or a Neighbors pick is that you have a number 1 right away. Those 3 guys are the only ones I feel like can come in day 1, and even if they played the 2, could run the 1 routes if they flip the play, basically.
They signed Isaiah Hodgins, Paris Campbell at wide receiver.
Said Paris Campbell?
Yeah. Gunter Olaskowicz. That's who somebody they already had. They re-signed. Tyrod Taylor went to the Jets, so you definitely can scratch them off. Drew Lock. They signed Drew Lock from Seattle at quarterback. So they're not picking a quarterback, in my opinion.
Not first.
Yeah.
But that's still a possibility. I still wouldn't think
they would pay that $5 million in dead cap money. Money if they was to let him go.
Why would they not go?
I'm talking about Drew Lock. You go pick a rookie quarterback, number 1 overall, and you put him behind Daniel Jones and Drew Lock.
It's not number 1 overall.
I mean, number first round pick. You gonna sit him on the bench behind Drew Lock and Daniel Jones?
Yeah, no, maybe you do because you gotta think you picking this pick for the future. You know what I'm saying? You're picking this pick for the future, obviously, if you're going quarterback, if you're the Giants. Because you're looking at, do I need to play this guy right away? No, I don't need to play him right away because I already have a franchise quarterback that I'm paying. But I am unsure if my franchise quarterback is at his peak or if he's going to give me growth. You know what I'm saying? Show me that he can do more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give him something that's going to challenge him. Drew Lock is the immediate challenge. But this other guy that I may draft is if you don't get this right, you know where we're going from here.
I think they're gonna get an offensive lineman because when you look at what they've done in free agency, it looks like they tried to bolster the line because they got John Runyon from Green Bay. Then they went and got Ben Bredesen. He went to Tampa Bay from them. They went and got Austin Schockerman from Minnesota. And they gave him a big contract. They gave John Runyon a huge contract, $30 million contract. Then they got Jermaine Elmer from Las Vegas to the Giants. They gave him another $14 million. They signed about 5 or 6 offensive linemen.
Yeah, I don't think they're going lineman with the first pick. That's what I'm saying. If it's not wide receiver, it's quarterback because they don't feel like Saquon was the reason why they didn't win.
They might go receiver though. They might go receiver. They didn't really. They didn't really sign. I mean, they signed a couple guys, but they could easily go receiver. But I got them going offensive lineman. If I had to choose, I would. What does the mock draft got them doing? Y'all have done the mock draft. What they got them doing?
Wide receiver.
They got them doing wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think we would mark them down for receiver, which now really puts a monkey wrench in your business where you got to get Harrison. What, you want to play against Harrison?
Well, I don't think he'll be on the board.
Harrison said he wants to go to Arizona. Basically, that's what
He
they talking.
can't he can say what he wanna say, and I don't even know if he said that. I've never heard that.
Nah, but they was like he said he would have worked out at the pro day if Arizona was there or something, made a joke or some shit like that. And so they trying to say that's where he
Yeah, that
want to go.
doesn't matter to me. I mean, even though Harrison in Arizona, I don't think that works out personally.
His father probably want to go to. There's no taxes.
I just don't think it's going to work out. I don't think Kyler Murray.
Nah, that's a money play. That's a money play.
Yeah, I don't think that works out for Harrison really well, personally.
Well. To be fair, we did say that he can be a mismatch, and Kyler can throw. Kyler can throw. If Kyler can stay healthy,
division though, I think that division is tough.
It doesn't stop individual success.
When was the last outside of Hopkins? I think Hopkins might have had 1,000 yards, but
Hollywood. And what I'm saying is that there you go. If you think about Hollywood being out there, John, you know what I'm saying?
Hollywood ain't there no more, is he?
Nah, he with Kansas City.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that if Hollywood has success out there with Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr. can recreate Kyler Murray's career.
I don't know. Of course, they are probably. I mean, they got a lot of holes to fill. I mean, I don't know if it's
not immediate. No, not now. What he can do immediately is get his bag right. What I'm saying is that I believe that maybe it's a money play on the sense that my kid is going to go out here and they have no other option but to throw him the ball. So he's going to immediately be showcased. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be immediately showcased in the NFL and he's going to be playing right away. Not only is he going to be playing right away, he's going to get 1,000 yards because who else do you give the ball to?
Yeah, they don't have any receivers. They got Michael Wilson.
So now what you do is whether Kyler Murray is the guy or not, just like what I said we should do, you pick the guy before you find the quarterback because all you have to do is plug and play when you have the guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So all they're going to do right now is pick him. If Kyler gets it right, good. We get to keep a franchise quarterback and we might not even have to pay him that much because he's been hurt. But if we don't get to keep him, guess what? Guess what we get if we get to let him go? We probably have a trash season, but this guy goes out and gets over 1,000 yards and shows out, but we lose. So we tank a little bit, or we just lose because Kyler's bad this year, and we got holes that we didn't feel right, and we go get another.
They're gonna try to recreate Larry Fitzgerald over there. That's basically what it looks
and
like.
And they're not gonna have to. And I think that's what his father probably saw. Like they had one of the best medical staffs, period, in sports, period. Not to mention in the NFL, but in sports, period. So they're very likely to be able to handle any injuries they may come across. You know what I'm saying? Like you just can probably build longevity there. Larry Fitzgerald was in the league, 17 years?
Yeah.
Like that's crazy for a wide receiver, bro, nowadays.
Yeah. So did Marvin Harrison retire from Indianapolis?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
Is Indianapolis who drafted him?
Yeah.
So
I wonder why he wouldn't be trying to go to Indianapolis.
Because they're too deep. They too long. They too deep in the draft. I think they picked 21st or something.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if they left on the best.
Yeah, they picked 15th. They were 9-8.
Yeah, he's not going that far. I guess Arizona might be the best spot for him because for real, if I look at us, we don't have a left tackle or a quarterback. If I'm Marvin Harrison at that time, now I wouldn't mind going.
Neither do the Cardinals.
They got a left tackle.
The Cardinals got a left tackle.
And they don't have any receivers. He's going to get double teamed immediately. He's going to get all the coverage.
But he's exactly still going to get all the passes.
He's going to be that good. He's going to be that good, bro. That those double teams are not going to matter all the time. That's what I'm saying.
They're going to matter a little bit, though. Let's be clear about it.
Hear what I'm saying. He's going to be able to beat those double teams that McLaurin cannot, bro. It's not about him winning all of them. It's going to be the fact that it's going to show that once he gets help or once he gets a quarterback that can throw him the ball, it's going to be even worse for guys. That's what I'm saying. If they have a bad year, he just does phenomenal. Imagine them getting another wide receiver that you have to actually check, or a quarterback that can get him the ball. You know what I'm saying? That's what I said. Like, imagine Kyler Murray has a good year, so that now you have, like, mind you, Kyler Murray can scramble, guys. So let's just say that he doesn't actually run, but scrambles out the pocket and makes extension plays. You can beat a double team like that. And Marvin Harrison's not a slow guy. We're talking about, again, a Randy Moss S type figure being able to really, ooh, good pass. We're talking about really being able to take over his position. Yes, where they have to do work. But if I'm not mistaken, Arizona has some pieces. They don't have like a number one receiver, but they have some pieces. They do need to refill that tight end spot though, because of missing Ertz. So I don't really know if they replaced that properly, but again, the holes that they have, I think once you sign Marvin Harrison Jr., you kind of already say what you need to do after that.
Can I say this right? CBS Sports got the Redskins drafting either May or Daniels. Can I say that if they draft Drake May, they are going to regret it? And that's just my opinion. I want to put this on air though. I think that it's going to be Zach Wilson-esque, personally. I just don't see it working out with Drake May. I've watched a lot of film on him. He's highly inaccurate. And y'all hear me saying this now. Y'all gonna hear me saying it. He is very inaccurate. Very inaccurate. You know what I mean? Like, straight up. I'm just gonna tell y'all now. You know, especially on the sidelines. A lot of those balls fly out of bounds. And that's going back to what you said, Vito, about the man on man. You know what I mean? I just think that'd be a mistake. This is my personal opinion. It's my personal opinion. Everybody got theirs. I just don't think. I think if you going to go quarterback, you better go Jaden Daniels. And
I
even
also
then,
slap in the face, not to cut you off, bro. I apologize about that,
yeah,
but
go
it's
ahead.
a slap in the face to pick Drake May and you just let Sam Howell go.
Yeah,
You basically saying that Sam Howell was only bad because he's short.
right.
They're the same quarterback. And honestly, I take that back and I say that they're not the same quarterback, because if you ask North Carolina fans, Sam Howell is a hero.
Yeah,
Like, Sam Howell is probably one of the best college quarterbacks to ever play college football. And I don't mean that by my own opinion. I mean that by looking at every sports clip
yeah.
of college football that is talking about college quarterbacks, and his numbers are phenomenal. The way and he played, the
Much better
offense
than
that he
May's
played,
number.
the offense that he played in, the numbers that the year before he got drafted was probably one of the best college football years for an ACC quarterback ever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Even with Ronald Curry, and Ronald Curry was a special kid at North Carolina. Sam
Mm-hmm.
Howell's numbers are better than that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And to pick Drake May again is to say that he only was bad because he was short. You know, or shorter, because he wasn't even
yeah,
a short quarterback. And
yeah.
and I just don't. And you take away Sam Howell to pick Drake May, and he already had a year experience. So you're trying to say that Drake May's already better than Sam Howell with a year experience? Get out of here!
No, yeah, yeah,
Get out of here!
yeah,
Get
yeah.
out of
I just don't. I don't think
I,
that's going to
I,
work
I
out.
personally, like I said, I personally feel like the Daniel. Don't get me wrong, his talent set is phenomenal. If Kingsbury, and Brian Johnson can get this kid on an A1 NFL level, ready to play this game, and can create an offense that doesn't look like everyone else's, by all means, we probably, like I said, have the rookie of the year, no doubt, easy, hands down. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But that's a hard ask.
It
And
is.
is that the ask that the team is asking of the next quarterback and of the offensive coordinator? Because their jobs would have to be on the line if they don't get it right.
And I'm gonna be honest with you though, Vito. To your point, I don't think Kingsbury is good enough to do that. I'm gonna keep it real. Because
Well,
I mean, I just don't think he's good enough to create something new on the all. See, one thing about like Kyle Shanahan, for instance, we see him in San Francisco. He was an innovator. We seen him even before, even with the Houston Texans with Matt Schaub. What they were doing with Arian Foster was new. You get what I'm saying? His father was basically the inventor of the zone running scheme. You know what I'm saying?
right. He got lineage on
Innovation has been
creating.
in his blood. You know what I
Yeah, that's what
mean?
I said. He's got lineage in creating. Creating is a
You
part
see what
of
I'm
his game.
saying? I don't see that with Kingsbury. I'm just
Well,
gonna be
I
honest.
did. Me and Leo talked a little bit ago, and I did say that the one pressure that Kingsbury doesn't have this time is that just like with Mahomes and just like with Caleb Williams, he'll be a coordinator instead of having to be the head coach. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That is a lot of pressure to try to be the head coach and be your quarterback whisperer and meet all these meetings and still be able to talk to your quarterback to make sure y'all on the same page. That's a lot of work when now you only have one job. Your one job is to call offense for the guy that you guys select. Because it's not going to just be Josh Harris's guy and Adam Peters' guy. Even like I said, even if it is that Peters Harris combo pick, it's just not going to be his. They're not going to force Cliff Kingsbury to fail. I believe that they're going to pick someone that he's comfortable with calling plays with too out of the group. That's why I would really, really like to know who we invited or who would invited us to their pro days. If we could find that at any point in time this week when we letting this stuff out doing our shows, I would
Daniels,
really
I think
appreciate that.
Daniels, we did see Daniels at the pro day.
Well, I'm sure of that, but so like I said, the top three guys, I'm sure we saw. I don't care about them as much as I do everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Because again, if I know everybody that they saw, then I can wire down who they're gonna pick more than just saying it's gonna be May or Daniels. Because if I know that they looked at a Knicks, or if I know that they looked at Penix, then I can say, okay, they're considering a Alt or a Harrison Jr. at quarterback first instead of what the media is saying. Because the media is just are the ones putting this out. Even though I do think there are some likely sources that deal with the Redskins, I think that Peters and them have so, in my opinion, if they do this right, this is my opinion. If I feel like they aren't going in the direction that my bro Ro is saying, if they're doing this right, I think that they paid attention and maybe they are smarter than us, bro. Maybe they did the PR during free agency and all of that to see what the media frenzy was like in Washington. Remember, I told you that Quinn talked to Joe Gibbs, and maybe
Right.
you have to do things to experience it yourself to see what it's going to be like so that you're not blitzkrieg by it. So maybe they did the PR with the free agency stuff because again, anybody we interview for free agency is going to be found out before the 24 hours is up. So that's going to come out anyway, regardless of how we do it. But we can see right now how the draft process is going to go if we don't give out our information because the
Right.
media is going to run with it and put it on the table before we even get a chance to pick those guys. And if anybody else in the league gets aware of that, they're going to do what they have to do to move up because not only are going to pick them to stop us from getting them, they're going to pick them because they're going to feel like they're that special of a talent that we're doing everything to pick that one person.
Right. 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 They said that the Vikings really want Drake May. And that we could get JJ McCarthy, which I think will be a better pick than May. I'm gonna be honest. I think McCarthy is better than May right now.
I think that's Mariota arm talent though.
There you go. There you go. And not only that, I'm not
But but
sure
but
that
but if it's young Mariota arm talent, you can mature that, bro. I don't think that Mariota got a chance to mature his arm talent. He never really had
well,
a
he had
lot.
to know he had an injury. We got to remember that he had an injury where he
True,
broke
true,
his
true.
you know what I'm saying? He broke something in his arm where he lost arm strength from that too. You know what I'm saying? That after he had a really good first and second season, then he had that arm injury, and then it's been kind of like downhill since then. You
Yeah.
know,
And I don't think that Chip Kelly really put a lot more around him. Like that first year, like I said, it was he had players around him, and then once he got that's right because after he got injured, that's when they got Michael Vick, ain't it?
right, right, right,
Yep. Yeah,
right.
you lose your job to Michael. Anybody loses their job to Michael Vick.
Right. But my thing is, even with that, right? Do you, if you pick McCarthy number 2 overall, did you pick him too high? I think you picked him
No,
too
no, no,
high.
no, 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 no. If they love McCarthy or if they feel really, really good about McCarthy, you trade to the Vikings that pick so that Vikings can pick May, and then you move to 11 to pick McCarthy there, and you just get extra
Right.
capital from the Vikings. Now, I think that that's a move that you could probably make because to me, I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think the Vikings may feel like they need that many pieces more to start, you know what I'm saying, to be a
Right.
contention of a, like, once they fix their quarterback spot, especially if they get somebody other than Kirk Cousins, I feel like they should feel like they have a chance to, you know what I'm saying,
Because they
to
have the receiver. They
in their
got
division.
Jet over there.
Yeah, and they got Jordan Addison too. Like he
Yeah.
balled out last year.
Yeah, he did. He did. Yep. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm
The,
saying? So they got to fix the running game, but at the same time, like Dalvin Cook wasn't there, but I think it wasn't Cam Akers. It might have been Cam Akers. It might have been Cam Akers that they got. They got somebody over there though. I think he might be a free agent too. So they do have to look at running back as well. But I think the biggest piece for them is knowing who they're gonna have to throw to the jet. So that's why I think that quarterback is important to them, like who they gonna have. And again, Drake May fits that Kirk Cousins s type of profile to me, so I can see why they like him. JJ McCarthy is a game manager, and not that I don't think that he can hit Jet. I think that Jet's gonna have to get his yards another way if you sign a JJ McCarthy. Not that he can't throw the deep ball some, but I just don't think that Harbaugh required it so much from him. But it also, I don't think they ever had a talent like the Jet at wide receiver. So it depends. And do you bring in see, so for these guys, do the Vikings go out and get more wide receiver talent, or do they go get a line? You know what I'm saying?
okay.
Follow.
So I got it in. Who we've met with at quarterback thus far. We met with Bradley Carter. No, Carter Bradley. Yeah, I think that's Carter Bradley from South Alabama, quarterback from South Alabama. We met him at the Hula Bowl meeting at the Senior Bowl. Then we met with Ben Bryant, the Northwestern quarterback, at the same thing, the Hula Bowl meeting. And that was the team's pro day meeting as well. We met with Jaden Daniels at the combine. We met with Theo Day from Northern Iowa at the college gridiron showcase meeting, and that was the team's pro day. We met with Darren Gringer from Georgia State. I don't mind him. He ain't that bad. I mind him if you're gonna pick, but if you're gonna pick something late to see what you got, fine. He wasn't as bad, as some of those other people they got. We met with Sam Hartman. I don't want Sam Hartman. I'm gonna keep it real. We met with from Notre Dame at the Senior Bowl. It was a Senior Bowl meeting. We met with Sam Hartman from Notre Dame.
You know that's where came
Huh?
from. So you know that's where Mighty Joe came from, though.
Right, but I'm telling you, I watched Hartman last year. No, I don't watch Hartman. I'm gonna keep it real.
Say Joe, but I know it's not Joe. Joe did some amazing stuff before he got drafted. So
he did, yeah. We met with Michael Ayers, Samford quarterback, at the Gridiron Showcase meeting. We met with
Why all of these bum conferences?
I know, right? We met with Devin Leary from Kentucky.
He's okay.
The East West Shrine Bowl, the East West Shrine game meeting. We met with him there. We met with Rocky Lombardi, the quarterback from Northern Illinois, at the college gridiron showcase meeting. We met with Drake May at the NFL Combine. We met with JJ McCarthy at the NFL Combine. We met with Joe Milton at the Senior Bowl. We met with Bo Nix at the Senior Bowl. We met with Michael Penix Jr. at the Senior Bowl. We met with Devin Richard, the quarterback from North Carolina Central, at the Hula Bowl. We met with John Ryers Plumley at the from Central Florida at the Hula Bowl. We met with Jack Plumley from Louisville at the Hula Bowl. We met with Michael Pratt from Tulane at the Senior Bowl. We met with Spencer Rattler from South Carolina at the Senior Bowl. We met with Austin Reed from Western Kentucky at the East West Shrine game. We also met with Kobe Sweets, quarterback from Houston Christian, at the college gridiron showcase meeting. And then we met with Tyler Tabalung, to his little brother. Let me just say it like that. I don't know how to say his first name. Tabalunga from at the East West Shrine game. We met with Jordan Travis at quarterback from Florida State at the East West Shrine game. Gunnar Watson from Troy at the Tropical meeting, and Caleb Williams at the NFL Combine. Those are all the quarterbacks we met with. Pretty much all of them.
They ain't meet with JJ McCarthy.
They did meet with JJ McCarthy. Yeah, they did. I named him.
You sure? I don't think you named
Yeah.
it.
JJ McCarthy. Hold on, let me look. Let me make sure. Jaden Daniels. Let me go on. JJ McCarthy. Yep, at the NFL Combine.
Okay.
So that's pretty much all of them. Wide receivers, they met with Ahmad Anderson. They met with Chris Ottman-Bell. They met with Javon Baker. Oh, sorry, let me go to the schools. Ahmad Anderson went to Temple, the wide receiver from Temple.
Ooh.
Chris Ottman-Bell, wide receiver from Minnesota. At the Tropical Bowl meeting, they met with Javon Baker, Central Florida. They met with Cole Beck from Virginia Tech. Jermaine Burton from Alabama. Jalon Calhoun from Duke. They met with Joshua Cephas from Texas, San Antonio. Jalen Coker from Holy Cross.
Pretty nice.
Keon Coleman from Florida State.
The big kid.
They met with Taman Cook from North Carolina A&T. Makai Corley from Western Kentucky. Jacob Cowing from Arizona, wide receiver from Arizona. They met with Ryan Flournoy from Southeastern Missouri State. Troy Franklin from Oregon. Anthony Gold from Oregon State. They met with Lytrick Griffin from Mississippi State. Devon Harper from Mercer. Marvin Harrison Jr. from Ohio State. Jaden Hatton from Idaho. Jaquan Jackson from Tulane. Ty James from Mercer. Jaden Janke from South Dakota. Jackson Janke from South Dakota State. Sorry, both of them from South Dakota State. John Giles from West Florida. Cam Johnson from Northwestern. Cornelius Johnson from Michigan. Xavier Leggett from South Carolina. Luke McCaffrey. That might be somebody from Rice. Lade McConley from Georgia. Bub Means from Pittsburgh. Adonai Mitchell from Texas. RJ Mobley from Winston-Salem State. Malik Neighbors from LSU. Rome Aduzier from Washington. Tawan Palmer from Alabama Birmingham. Ricky Pearsall from Florida. Jalen Polk from Washington. Brendan Rice from USC. Marcus Riley from Florida A&M. Trevon Robinson from Kentucky. Marcus Roseman Jack Saint from Georgia. Kyle Sheets from Slippery Rock. Anaya Smith from Texas A&M. Phoenix Sproles from James Madison. Dimitri Stanley from Iowa State. Brian Thomas from LSU. Jamar Thrash from Louisville.
James Thrash's son.
Really?
Yeah.
Devontae Walker from North Carolina. Malik Washington from Virginia. Taj Washington from Southern Cal. David White from Western Carolina, Isaiah Williams from Illinois, Johnny Wilson from Florida State, Roman Wilson from Michigan, Xavier Worthy from Texas, and M.J. Wright from Florida. So those are the receivers. They did interview neighbors, though. I'm happy about, and Marvin Harrison Jr. Hey, I'm happy about that.
They at least interviewed him.
They at least interviewed them. They at least interviewed them. So where's all this talk from Drake May? They did interview May, but they interviewed everybody. Where did this May talk come from?
There was talk in the combine that they did like him. But again, these are interviews. That's why I said like the media here. That's why I said that maybe I think that they just stopped really even giving them anything because the media here runs with everything.
Right. And you know what's crazy? They don't talk about the other interviews.
No.
They don't talk about the other interviews.
Because I, like I said, I think that they stopped. I think they stopped giving intel because it was like now we're interviewing the Redskins on every little thing we do in the process, and you can't do that because you're giving too much intel to how you look at things, and that's going to be a telltale sign to other teams with how you do things. That is being Adam Peters' first time doing the job and all that. Like this not an audit. Like you're not supposed to be getting under in view for every move you make.
Right.
More so than trying to make the best moves, but they got to be calculated. They can't be just open like that.
Right. Right.
Not in the draft process. Like I said, because again, you don't want to do the work for another team. You don't want to give great evaluations on all these players, and then other people like, oh, I didn't even know about this guy, and then they take him off the board, and that's the guy you got on your board. Like that's why my board is different.
Right. Right. They did interview Roger Rosenjarten, the guy from Washington for offensive line. They did interview Joe Alt too.
Okay.
They did interview Joe Alt. He was interviewed. So they did not interview the guy from Mims, though. They did not interview Mims. Oh, yes, they did. Yes, they did from Georgia. They got him right here. They interviewed Mims. I mean, so this is at least I'm gonna say this. Let me say this. They don't have no excuses now. Now that I've seen who you actually sat down and talked to, that means they were on your board, in my opinion. If you took the time out to sit down and talk to these guys, you are aware of who these guys are. Y'all don't have no excuses. Y'all don't have any excuses. Y'all don't have any excuses. To me, in my opinion. You know, in my opinion, y'all don't have any excuses. And honestly, again, like you said, now it seems like the media is just stirring stuff up and just kind of making stuff up as they go. They don't really have any intel.
That's why I said that it's starting to, because it looks crazy where, because like I said, it's either that or Washington media is going to force you guys into a pick, and that's going to look very unprofessional of Peters, and it's going to tell your inexperience.
Yeah. And that's kind of probably what Washington media is probably doing, bullying them into a pick.
Well, haven't we always done that? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it feels like we've always done that, and that's why I feel like I need Quinn to kind of step up in this process as well as a coach and show that prowess of being a leader. Where it's like, you know what? No, this is our team, and this is what we want to do. Again, I'm confident that they're going to make the pick that they want to make. That's going to try to take us in the right direction. If we're being honest, RG3 was the right pick to take us in the right direction. How we handle his injury is what messed everything up, in my opinion.
Right.
You know, and he was the right pick. If he was the rookie of the year, and we had a very good chance of making our way to that Super Bowl if he doesn't get injured. And I really mean that, like not just the playoff win, just to the Super Bowl. Because again, every time we go to the playoffs, the team that beats us is the team that goes to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And Alfred Morris was a gem, such a gem in that draft.
Yes.
You know, like people show me, we talk a lot about RG3 in that draft, but we forget
Alfred
Morris
was just as special.
Just as special. Yeah. Alfred Morris in that draft was just man.
If anything, he very much helped RG3 get that rookie.
Yeah.
It wasn't for rushing attack with him, RG3 would have never had that shit opened up. Because if you notice, Kirk Cousins was not able to get that same type of protection. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't created from the same threat.
They were scared of Alpha Morse. Towards the end of the season, when we played Dallas, to be honest, when things turned was when Alpha started to really get off, and people was like, hold on. You got to count for that Washington running game, because this is still a Mike Shanahan team. We see this shorty tearing it up. You got to count us now. We got to put 8 in the box. And that's when Aldrick Robinson and all them guys went crazy. And that honestly, that is how you use the running game when you have a rookie quarterback. That is what you do. And that's the one thing, if that RG3 season didn't show anything else, it showed if you are going to go rookie quarterback, this is how you do this. You get a veteran middle linebacker. They got that. They got that. You see what I'm saying? You get a veteran middle linebacker who's going to keep your defense in good calls and in the right calls, who's going to make a lot of tackles, so you're not going to have a big holes in the middle of your defense. You know, ain't nobody going to really run it up too much on you because you got a veteran middle linebacker. He's going to keep everybody in position, you know, in the right position. You get a strong running game, you know what I mean? That's going to help your offensive line, take the pressure off your offensive line, take the pressure off your quarterback. But then this is where I'm saying you got to have a quarterback who is able to stretch the field, because they will vamp down when your running game get off a little bit. Here they come. They're going to start to move up, and you can go over top of them if you got. Now, if you don't, if you this is where Kirk Cousins gets in trouble. When everybody start to move up, can you throw over top of their heads? That's the thing. If you can't really go behind them, you're gonna have trouble, because now they just squeezed in on your little dinking and dunking. And so it just make it so hard to dink and dunk now at that point.
Yeah. But see, that's where I think that Daniels comes into play, where I said that if you can keep him healthy, he's the danger, because now you can run offenses that are where you got it, like the Eagles, where you were beating the Eagles running a one-sided offense, where you wasn't even running on them. You was running literally all passes all game and was competing with your with the NFC champions of our division.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you look at it and you say, all right, with Daniels, you create an opportunity of having a multifaceted offense that has a variety of ways of being able to attack defense. That's where that makes that Daniels pick very attractive, especially when Caleb is taken off of the market of you having your quote unquote passer of the future, where you're looking at this guy like, okay, this guy is going to be able to put me in every passing situation like a Mahomes. Even though we can't get the Mahomes athleticism on the runs that he's able to do, we may be able to get the athleticism from this kid to do an Aaron Rodgers type of thing and break down the pocket in several different ways and throw a 30 to 40-yard pass. Like one of the passes that he made, bro, was a 60-yarder off of stepping up in the pocket after being rushed by 5 rushers. Right. And the throw was not only on the dot, bro, but it was a gem to see somebody handle the pressure like that and then throw a pass that you don't see every day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's just one of those passes that I don't think these other two guys can do. Now again, Daniels can do things that I don't think that Williams can do. Right. You know what I'm saying? I think that Daniels has the ability that once he breaks the pocket, like I said, can look like Randall Cunningham. And Lamar and Vic are special in their own regard, but they still didn't move the way that Randall Cunningham was jumping over people. I don't know how hard people know that it is to do, but literally was jumping over people at already being 6'4". Right. So you're not short doing this starting from the great. You're literally jumping over people and bringing your legs over top of them without getting touched.
Right.
Staying on your feet and then still throwing the ball downfield. Like, I don't want to see that happen to Daniels, but if they can find, like I said, and bro, you know this, you're not the biggest guy, but you know how to manage your body. So what if this guy is good at playing at 175 and can handle what happens to him? that could be a dangerous combination. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I say Marvin Harrison Jr. because it makes things easier. And I feel like, to me, planning the future around the team is a lot easier to do with a Randy Moss-esque receiver. With this being one of the biggest drafts in receiver, as you can see, you still don't have that many receivers that can mimic what a Randy Moss can do, because you only have maybe one or two other guys that are close to this guy. You know what I'm saying? In this draft that's deep with wide receivers. But quarterbacks, you're going to get one of those every year. College is going to produce several of those all the time, just because that's just how the nature of the game. Every quarterback is going to be somebody. There's going to be some offense made with this quarterback's doing this or doing that. Are they more special than these guys, or are these guys more special than them? I'm not sure. And I also say that, hey, that RG3 draft did happen, and Andrew Luck and RG3 was supposed to be the next and the most special, you know what I'm saying, quarterbacks ever, and they're both out of the league now. So
Right.
quarterbacks they come and they go, bro.
Right. And that's the thing. And again, with Daniels, I think the most dangerous thing is gonna be him in the pocket. When he is in the pocket, you know what I mean? I think that's when he's out of the pocket, it's gonna be hard to get any hands on him. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's gonna be hard to get a hand. These guys, they not running with him. Ain't but too many, he can his acceleration. And that's the difference between between him and RG3. And me and Point was talking about this earlier. For me, his acceleration from 0 to 60 is faster than RG3's.
Yes. RG3 had a little bit of build up it took.
Right. Once he got the build up, he was gone.
He's already fast.
Right.
Daniel starts fast. And again, that may be a little what I used to call scared speed, but he got it.
Right.
Whatever that speed is, that kid.
I've never seen like at quarterback. It might even be better than Vic's 0 to 60. And Vic's 0 to 60 was probably the fastest 0 to 60 I think I've even more than Lamar. But Daniels might be the fastest 0 to 60 I've seen at the position of quarterback ever. And that could because he's so light too. Them guys was a little bit bigger than him. So it could be because he's only 175, 180 at the most, that he can go 0 to 60 so fast. But again, if he gets outside the pocket, that's a first down almost every time. That is what you get with Daniels, for sure. But the thing is, every time he gets hit, everybody gonna be holding their breath. Every time he go down, everybody gonna be holding their breath. You know, and because the hits are ugly. When you're moving that fast too, that's another thing. When you're moving that fast,
all it takes you go flying.
Yeah. So he got to really watch. And if I was Daniels, and if Daniels is listening, or somebody who knows Daniels is listening, this is some good advice. Go watch film of Russell Wilson, the early Russell Wilson. Not the later round, and even the later Russell Wilson too. Watch film of how Russell Wilson stayed low to the ground so he could avoid the bigger hits. So even if he got hit, the way that you had to hit it, because he's so low to the ground,
you get penalties and all that.
Yeah. And he didn't have, you couldn't sling him, and he would be compact, real low to the ground. He would slide on you. You know what I mean? Before you get to him, he's so low to the ground, take nothing to just put his knee down. So watch some film of Russell Wilson. Play the sidelines. If you on that sideline, stay close to the sideline, run up that sideline, step out of bounds. Get your yard, step out of bounds. You know what I mean? It'd be different if you were Sam Howell size, where you could just dip your shoulder. Sam Howell's way of protecting himself is by knocking you out. You ain't got to, you're not built like that. So we don't need to see, even though it was effective, we saw Sam Howell run through some people last year, to be honest. But you're not built like that. So don't try it, because you're going to get the opposite effect. Play the sidelines, learn how to slide, really use your slide, use your pump fake. Russell Wilson is really good at using his pump fake. Use your pump fake to get people when they do got a clean shot at you. Make them think you're going to throw the ball. Use your throwaway, throw the ball away when you have to. So go watch some Russell Wilson film. If of course, if we drafting you, if we ain't drafting you, then hey, I don't care. Don't go, don't go watch nobody. But if we get you, go watch some Russell Wilson film, especially early days Russell Wilson, because he really was moving at a certain pace, and he revolutionized, in my opinion, and I'm gonna give him some credit. He revolutionized that whole run, pass, read option sort of a thing, especially in the early years. And he stole it from us. The whole league stole it from us. We was the first one doing that option sort of an offense. Let's be clear about that. Nobody did it before us. So I would like to see if they do get Jaden Daniels. I don't want to see him running with everybody else run. I think that's a setup. You got to get him, like you said, and the crazy thing about that option, sort of that we never saw it in preseason. They literally waited to the Seattle game to unveil it. I mean, sorry, the Saints game, the New Orleans Saints game to unveil it. And when they did unveil it, the Saints had no answer for it. They didn't know what to do. They did not know what to do. And if anybody think I'm playing, go back and watch the game, the RG3's first game against the Saints in the Superdome. We beat them 40-32. I believe Pierre Garçon's first catch, RG3's first pass was an 80-yard touchdown to Pierre Garçon, because they didn't know what was going on. It was so different.
Caught their ass off guard.
I mean, they had no idea what was going on. He faked it to the running back. Now you got a guy coming across the middle and he gone. It was so impactful that the whole league just adopted it. The whole league adopted it. So if you're going to do that, you're going to go get Jaden Daniels, and that's what you're doing, I can see, do it. But if you ain't got nothing up your sleeve, something to that effect, you better draft Marvin Harrison Jr.
You can't run the center or just shot. You can't run the same offense Sam Howell had last year with Jaden Daniels.
No.
You're asking for him to get killed. I don't care what line out there, none of that. Because the sit back in the pocket quarterback is going to get destroyed by the pass rush the NFC East got.
Yeah. The question is with Daniels, his arm is not the most effective thing that he has. It's his legs. But how do you use his legs and protect him at the same time? We haven't figured that out in Washington yet. Alex Smith might have been the closest thing to it, but Jay Gruden killed that with the girls and all the other stuff he had going on. So how do you use the legs effectively? Because his Jaden Daniels' legs is what makes him special. It is not his arm. No offense to Daniels.
He has a good arm. He has a good arm.
He has a good arm. That's why. But his legs are special.
Release. But
you get what I'm. 1,100 yards last year. He had the average when it came to average for rushers in the NCAA last year. Jaden Daniels was number one. He averaged 8.4 yards a carry last year.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? That's nearly 9 yards every time he takes off. So his legs are special. And so it's how do you use those? At least enough to scare the defense. But the thing is, this is the risk you take with drafting him. If he start beating, no foul, beating up on defenses, they gonna start to use some physicality against him because he has his one weakness. It's the fit. That's what Alabama did. That's how they ended up knocking him out the game like that. He had 163 rushing yards before they knocked him out the game against them. 219 yards passing, 163 yards rushing. On that Alabama defense, 163 yards rushing. So if teams can't beat them up, they're just gonna beat them up and say, okay, when we do get to them, make sure you knock them out. That's what they did to RG3. Am I lying? That's exactly what they did to RG3. When they realized they couldn't keep up with the offense we was running, we was confusing them. They said, okay, if they going to fake to the running back, knock the running back out, and make sure you get hands on the quarterback too. Since you can't figure out who got the ball, cool, knock both of them out. So this is, I mean, when you look at both positions, that's what you got. You know what I mean? That's what you got. We didn't get the defensive line. Just to run through a little bit of the defensive lineman, the one that I like the most is Jonah Ellison. Jonah Ellison. Sorry, no, the one that I like the most is Latu. Latu from UCLA. I like Jonah Ellison as well from Iowa. I think those are the two defensive ends who I think are just really good. I mean, UCLA's defense was really, really good last year. Underrated defense is Penn State's defense was underrated, even though they had they had the most sacks in the NCAA last year, and they also had the lowest. They gave away the lowest rushing yards in the NCAA as well. So they were number one in rushing yards against, and they were number one in sacks. Their front four was the best in college football last year, and it wasn't even close. So Penn State, anything you want to get from that front four, that starting front four they got, I'm with it. They got Chop Robinson, they got Isaac as well. You can grab either one of those. But those are linebackers, I believe. But you might can swap them to ends. They big enough to play ends. But if I had to pick a true end, it would probably be Jonah Ellis from Iowa. And then you still got Latu from UCLA. He's really good. Really good. UCLA's defense was really good under Chip Kelly. And so those are my two picks. And I like Javon Solomon from Troy. I also like Javon Solomon from Troy on the defensive side of the ball. I think that he's also somebody who was underrated. He was top 5 in sacks though, and they also had a really good running against attack. I believe they was third or something like that, but they had really good numbers as a unit. And that's what I try to look at. How did you play as a unit? If you guys know, and people can say what they want, but when Jordan was on the Bulls, they were good as a unit. Even though he was good individually, how good are you to make the rest of the people around you well as well? Are you good enough to make your teammates better too? I think that you really got to look at that when scouting players. Because we'll take who you want to take? Aaron Rodgers, for instance. We'll take Russell Wilson last year. His numbers were good last year, but the team was horrible. So that ain't what good is that's gonna do if you bring in somebody who's good by itself. That ain't about to help, you know. So I'd like to look at the whole unit. What did the unit play well when this guy, with this guy, or did they not play well? So those are the guys that I got on defensive line. You got something for defensive line?
Nah, I mirror yours right now.
Okay.
Like Lou a little bit. Well, not a little bit. I like him a lot. Also, Missouri State should have a guy up there.
Oh yeah.
Missouri State's defense to me was very, very exciting to watch last year. They played a lot of situations. They had a lot of different scenarios happen last year. Anybody understands what I mean by that? It's like 3rd and short, 4th and short, critical downs where you needed to stop or you would get scored on, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I really felt like they were really, really good in situations like that. That guy that's coming out is really good, but his teammates probably are a little bit better. But I do like any guy that came out of that system last year.
Absolutely. Missouri State was top 10 in I believe in rushing yards against. And I usually do rushing yards against for tackles, because normally if you getting ran on, it's gonna be up the middle somehow, some way. But I think that a lot of offenses have been using the edges a lot. So setting the edge is really important. setting the edge is really important, especially with a lot of the speed sweeps and read option plays. And, you know, you got to have somebody who really knows how to defend those things, you know. Especially with us, because who we face. We had faced running quarterbacks, Daniel Jones, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott. All of them will pull the ball down and scramble a little bit, you know. So when you look at the competition, you really gotta just take that into consideration when you're talking about a defender and who you want to get up on that line. Again, we're talking about people who probably not gonna get too much time, not gonna see too much time. You got KJ Henry, who came from Clemson, and I looked at film for KJ Henry. He's really good, to be honest. You know, he's really good. He came from that Clemson defense. They were really good the year that he was there. So you still got KJ Henry, who I think should be able to compete for, maybe not even if it's a starting role. I think he should be able to compete with the guy that we got from San Francisco. In my opinion, you should allow KJ Henry to compete for that job. You know, KJ Henry is that good if you give him an opportunity, you know. So, you know, that's all we got for today. You know what I mean? You know, you got any final thought? Well, yep, I'm gonna go ahead and lock it in with the final thoughts. You know. So again, we went over the offensive line, defensive line. Who do you pick? If you go on quarterback, you can run it all the way to the third round. You know what I mean? You can run it all the way to the third round. I mean, sorry, second round. Second, you probably want second in between the second and third. You can run it all the way there. And so overall, you got two ways you can go. Quarterback. If you get the quarterback first, then who knows where you picking an offensive lineman after that? Do you go receiver next? Do you go offensive line next? So the quarterback makes it a little bit more difficult. You know, if you go receiver first, then your next pick is probably a quarterback. So I just feel like, especially with not too many teams picking quarterback, I just feel like that's the safer route. Then you can get an offensive lineman at that 40th pick, which again, you got some people to pick from there, you know, especially with teams need offensive linemen. A lot of teams need them, but you ain't got but so many picks. So at 40th, I think you can get a quality guy. You know what I mean? So I'm going to sign off for the guys. It's ETA Money Row. Signing off for Uptown Vito. Point B. Big Son. This the Nature Sports Network. Giving y'all only the way that we can give it to y'all. We're going to be back tomorrow. And we're going to go over wide receivers, defensive backs. Even though we did go over some wide receivers today, but at least we have a list to draw from who they looked at and who they interviewed. And so we'll go and see, you know, what's the best route. I think the number 2 should go to the wide receiver. They might not pick it. But if they do, they do. You dig? So signing off. It's my final thoughts. See y'all tomorrow.